And then what happens is that because you think you're right, the other person's wrong, and then gets to a case of like mudslinging, character assassination, and this aspect of passing judgment when you've not listened to the other person's argument or side of things. Okay, no problem, Jazex. So you've not listened to the other person's side of argument, and I think with like in any healthy society, there needs to be an opportunity to have open debate about certain topics rather than saying, look, we're right, you're wrong, just listen to us. Because this particular topic, I think, is very, it involves everybody. And everybody has their own opinion on this. You know, I personally have a very strong opinion on the privacy issue. And I think it's a healthy discussion to have to see like what the counter arguments just to help people make their own opinion about things. We don't need to mention names. We don't need to like put things like target people and label people. I think the main thing is to just look at what are the arguments of the rights, and I think this is where it goes over from just like an abstract subject to like rights of. I think this is more going to fall into like a gender topic as well, because I think particularly when it comes to parents, it's not even your right to privacy, it's the right to privacy of children. And especially mothers find it very, very like emotionally triggering knowing the fact that their children are being photographed without their permission. And I think that's what the background context is. So that just two individuals, we'll just call them Mary and Joseph, let's just say. All right. So Mary is a mother and has children, and Joseph is, let's just say, a single guy. They've met in a park. He's taken some photographs, and obviously he feels he has certain rights. Another person believes that they don't have a right to take photographs or publicize them. And you were posting children's photos, dude. Come on, Tyrone 9. If you want to come up and have a discussion about it, what do you mean? You were posting pictures of children. Come on, where do you want me to come? I think what I've done is legitimized, and if you want to have a healthy discussion and a debate of where I've gone wrong, I'm always looking to be educated and enlightened if I've made a mistake. You can't just simply say, children, everybody, he said a children's name, or he did something. You know, this is called morally pandering to something, which is not really healthy for a discussion, isn't it? Many of those, so this is what the purpose of this live is, to find out where that line is. Why is it wrong to have photographs and publish them? Brighton Unfiltered. I think that's Stell, isn't it? Stell, if you just give me a second, I'm just going to get the likes up to about 10k before we start. I know you want to have an opinion on the subject, but I just want to make it clear to anybody, no names involved, no online disputes. This is an abstract discussion about photography rights and subjects' rights, those that are being photographed in various different contexts. One of those contexts is where children are being photographed and published online without consent and permission. The other topic is about, like, Christmas is coming up. There are many people are going to have Christmas parties coming up, and they're going to maybe find themselves in a compromising situation. I know what happens at these Christmas parties. There's a lot of loving that goes on, and you may find somebody in a compromising situation that gets photographed. Now, what is that person's right to, like, obviously not have any indiscretions made public? So I think that's a very interesting topic, because, like, when at a Christmas party, somebody may be snogging somebody that they fancied all year. Somebody may take a photograph of that, and then it's going to be the gossip of the week. What? Oh, I've got a restriction. Live visibility restriction for 10 minutes. Your live is not eligible for recommendation and is restricted in search for 10 minutes due to low visual quality or static imagery. I think that's okay. I think the people that want to come here can come here, and the people that don't want to enter into the debate, that's up to them. So what I was saying is that, you know, Christmas is coming up, and usually at a Christmas time, this time of the year, there's a lot of festivity, and there's a lot of Christmas parties, and a lot of drinking that takes place, and a lot of, like, pent up emotions, and people can find themselves in compromising situations, and now everybody's got a camera effectively on them, and if they take a photograph of that, then they become the gossip of the water cooler. Can we get everybody, Don Michael, if you're there, if you can, I can only see Brighton Unfiltered clicking away down the likes. If you can just get my likes up, and then we can start this discussion. I'm just trying to give a background context to what we will be discussing. Yeah, Michael.
Yeah, I'm clicking
Thank you.
away.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Michael. Thank you, JazzX. So that's the background context of this debate. I don't want any names. Obviously, it's a very distressing subject for many people. They feel very strongly about it. They feel targeted and victimized. And the targeting and victimization comes from an individual trying to express their right of freedom and liberty in a Western liberal society, and the rights of maybe parents or individuals that don't want to have their imagery published without their consent and permission. So that's what we will be discussing today. Thank you for the likes. I just want to have a quick chat with my good friend Valerie. Hi, Valerie.
Hi, I put a video up on TikTok of my granddaughter,
Yep.
and she saw it and asked me to take it down. And being polite, and it is her image, I took it down. She didn't wish to be on social media. I put it up. I was a proud grandmother.
Yes.
And I think things have changed. Like, we used to have photo albums and lots of photos, but
Yes.
now it's all online, and it's everybody just trying to work out, I think, how to keep their precious moments.
Yes, I think that's a very good point. As a grandmother, you're proud of your progeny and you do want to show it to the world. Where are your rights as a grandmother to effectively what would have ordinarily happened if I was for example, if I came to see you, you would get me down, get me a cup of tea and sit me down and just bring out the photo album, show me your pride and progeny, and be glad to show me those. But the problem now is that, like you said, everything's gone online, and we're so, like yourself as a grandmother, want to show the world, your grandchildren and stuff, other people's kids. Why? Wait, are people taking other people's kids' pictures? Well, I think that's what we will be discussing. Where is the fine line? Because obviously there's a lot of controversy happening on this subject of taking photographs of other people as children. But what Valerie was saying was that, look, she's a proud grandmother. She wants to show the world her lineage and progeny like a photo album online to me. Because obviously Valerie is somebody that's quite international. I mean, what I mean by that is that she has a family in Australia, New Zealand. They're all spread all around the world. And having a photo album where it would have been, at her cupboard at her house or cottage, now everything's gone online, and they are a lot better by taking it mine. They better not be taking mine. Okay, well, we'll be discussing this green drip about people's right to take photographs and where that line is. So this is a healthy discussion. But I wanted to just put what Valerie's saying. A proud grandmother wants to have her grandchildren put out there. And in that particular circumstances, she's put a photograph of her grandchildren, but the mother has said that she's not happy with that and asked to take it down. Now, obviously, Valerie didn't want to come across as antagonistic and has complied to that. But this is what we're discussing here. There's no right or wrong answers. All we're just trying to discuss is that what are the arguments and where is that fine line? Now, Valerie, what would have happened if, can I ask, how old is a child?
Oh, she's 18. It was her who asked me to take it down. But
Was she the subject?
Pardon?
Was she the subject? Was she the subject that was photographed?
She was skiing. She was skiing, and I just put a skiing picture up, and she just said, "Grandma, please, can you take it down?" Yep. I had to ask her how to, and she talked me through it, and I did it. Okay. But it's to respect people, isn't it?
Yes, yes. But what happens is now, what's happening on this particular backstory, I don't want to go into the names and details of it, but what happens is that when it's all about respecting somebody and making sure that they're not alarmed and distressed. But what happens when there would have been a feud? All right, because the example that you're giving is, a family situation. There's a lot of, obviously, she's kindly asked you to remove that. And you've complied, but we're just going to look at the different dynamics of that little scenario, because some people have asked me to remove content and I've complied, but then at other times I may feel that I don't want to comply. And this particular backstory that we're looking about is a tit for tat, where it becomes, where that aspect of publicizing can be weaponized and leveraged. And what we should do as a society to like deal with a situation like that. So, for example, you complied. So that's one example where we are discussing like that situation regarding. Well, first of thing, what I want people to be thinking about is the right to photograph somebody and the right to publish. Those are two different aspects. So somebody can photograph somebody. So ultimately, like your granddaughter photographed herself, send it to you. You've publicized it, and you could have publicized it in a small circle between friends and family, or you could have publicized it to the world. And this is where the shifting narratives change, where maybe your granddaughter was happy for you to have the picture, and maybe even share it with your small circle of friends, but withdrew consent for it to be published to everybody. And then also, once being granted permission, what right does the subject have to withdraw permission as well? So in your particular circumstance, your granddaughter is now of age. Can I ask, was the video of a child? Was she when she was a child, or was it I'm just trying to find out?
No, it was just her skiing.
Okay, so that's another, but she was an adult.
Yeah, she's 8. Well,
Yes.
yeah, she's actually 21 in January, so I don't know why I said 18. She's
Okay.
21 in January, but
Okay.
yeah, and that's her right. That's her image, and she said she didn't want to be on social media like that. That's her right. I
Yeah.
don't have the right to put it up there. It's not my image.
Yes. But this is the thing, you see. We're talking about like the rights of image. But if you take a photograph of somebody, is it your image, or is it who has copyright? Because there's copyright law. So we're looking into the legality of things. Is an image of somebody protected? Like I explained about this Christmas party scenario where somebody gets in a compromising situation, and if you took a snapshot of that, I will do Brighton. I will do shortly. Just give me, it's on 10K. I'll get you up, mate. I'll get you up. So if you can just mute yourself, Brighton, and I will speak to you in a bit. But I'm just going to finish my discussion with Valerie first. So Valerie, where is the line when the child is underage? So let's say your granddaughter was under the age of 18, and the mother had given the picture.
I do have pictures of other grandchildren that are underage, cooking with them and that, and obviously their parents see it, and they're fine with it. So I haven't taken it down. So yeah, I
But the
suppose it's up to the individual.
But what happens when a child is under the age? Let's say parental guardianship lasts till the person's 16. Now, what happens when a person's 15 and like may object to it, or like there's no consent being considered by the guardian? That's another point. But then also we've got this situation of the Christmas party water cooler. How do you feel about that? Where I mean, what if you were at a Christmas party and you took a photograph, and the other person said, "Look, obviously, I don't want that photograph to be what is it, company gossip at the Wutuk water cooler." How can that kind of situation be dealt with? And the other person's, "No, this is my photograph. I want to publicize it." What's this? Block me all from soul to soul. Valerie?
I think again, if that person doesn't want it publicized, if you're any kind of human being, you would sort of just say that's fine and take it down.
Yeah. Okay.
AI babies are a little bit different because they're not really real people, are they?
And this is another aspect. What about AI pictures? Like, remember, Valerie, you and we've had this discussion before, and this was back, I think, in February when this AI baby stuff started, and and you had pictures of your grandchildren there, and I felt that you shouldn't have them there. But you felt no that at the end of the day, even your picture here, there were originally, if you remember, you became square Bob SpongeBob SquarePants and tried to like have a different image there. I personally think that people shouldn't be putting the baby pictures out or images out there, but you also have freedom and liberties to put stuff out there. But then there's a risk of AI generated content based on your images as well, you see. So that is kind of like some of the parts of the what we'll be discussing today is like as a society something's shifted, and that shift has come due to technology, and that shift we need as a society try to find out where that lines are, what is morally right, what is acceptable behavior, and then obviously legislation follows there, because it's how is legislation going to be implemented in the context of oh, I think that was Jazz X asking for an invitation. I think you may have made a mistake. So anyway, I want to go to my next guest here, which is Brighton Unfiltered. If you could just unmute yourself, and remember, we're talking about general abstract stuff here, no names or no particular incidences, if that's okay with you, Brighton.
That's absolutely fine. I'm here from a legal point of view, if you don't
And can
mind.
I, can I ask, what is your legal expertise?
I'm a member of PINAC,
And
which
can you
is
explain?
photography
What,
is not a crime, and it's a
yes.
movement. There isn't really a shift. There's a shift in attitude, but not because of technology. There's a shift in attitude that was basically brought around in the UK because of the amount of harassment that the royals were getting, especially the royal children. And that's led people to believe that their children are somehow protected under this law, when it's not the case.
Could you tell us which law that you're referring to?
There is a privacy law for the royal family and members of the cabinet.
Okay, so
So
could you make a
on,
reference what that law is? Because Don Michael's going to look it up.
you can look it up. It's a law that protects the privacy of the royal family, some celebrities, and members of the cabinet. And it
Okay,
actually says cabinet rather than any MP, just members of the cabinet. And that's to protect them from harassment,
okay. So
really.
taking photo. I mean, this is a really interesting angle that you brought around. I like to remind people the paparazzi and how they hounded Princess
Yes.
Diana, and the consequences that it can lead to. You know, unaliving of people. This level of bombardment or rights of the public to take photographs of celebrities, particularly the royal family. So it's an interesting thing. I would like to know, if you're going to be talking from a legal perspective, when that law was brought into place. They
Yeah,
were.
that law was officially brought into place in 2018, although the paparazzi did actually agree to it as a rule
Yeah.
as far back as 2004, I think.
Okay. Okay, sorry to interrupt you there, Brighton. I've got a member here called Justice, and I thought it was a very interesting comment that she's put in. She said that they were the press, not public, no public. But the thing is, myself and my friend here, Don Michael, we consider
So,
ourselves well
so
citizens.
I'm going to talk about the law from a public point of view, if you don't mind.
Okay, okay,
And
go ahead.
I've made some notes for you, Shazad. Yeah.
Okay, okay,
So in the UK, PINAC is. I'm going to introduce what we are. In the UK, PINAC is primarily known as an acronym for the movement, and the phrase "photography is not a crime." This term is used within the context of auditing and photographers' rights to refer to the movement, a trend observed in the UK where individuals are often referred to as auditors. They can film police officers, security
yeah,
guards, other government workers in public to test and document whether they comply with the law regarding public rights to film them. A principal assertion is that it is legal, yeah, to take photographs and record video in public places in the UK, provided it does not involve harassment or trespassing on land without permission. A company in the UK incorporating private limited company status called PINAC Limited was formed in 2003. Possibly related, that's what I'm part of, by the way. Possibly
okay,
related to the media and the security services. So we represent people who may or may not have been arrested, detained, charged with any crime regarding photography in public where the police deem it was a threat to national security, or under the Terrorism Act, Section 43. Anyway, so I'm going to go on to the actual things I was taking notes for. So, number one, people will always ask me, is it legal to take photos or video in public? The answer is yes. It's generally legal to take photos or videos in a public place in the UK. There is no specific law preventing this. And the rights extend to filming people, including children and police officers. Now, at this point, I'm going to butt in myself and say there is actually an app that was produced by the Metropolitan Police to film your encounters with the police and upload it to the IOPC. Yeah? If anything had went wrong or you felt the police officer acted inappropriately. Okay. If you don't, you can delete that. There is an app out there that's free.
Okay, just 1 second. Just 1 second, please. I appreciate what you're saying, and this is obviously perfect for this discussion today. I just want to focus on the comments as well. I don't mean to throw you off what you're saying. Just 1 second. It says without guardian's permission, photographing cannot take place. I just want to keep that in the mind.
I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that.
Go ahead.
Can I just butt in?
Yeah, go ahead, Valerie.
I filmed when I went to Cornwall to Penzance. And I mean, there was loads of people walking about, and old people, young people, children. And I'm not saying it's any close-ups, but surely you see them in that. And I never really thought about it. I just thought about the view and the walk. And
Exactly. Right. There is no requirement for parental permission to take pictures of children. That is not the case. However, some schools have policies like sports days, etc., where they implement their policy on their land, their private land, and I'm coming to that, right? Okay. The important caveats and the potential offences where filming in public is permitted, certain actions while doing so can lead to legal issues. Obviously, harassment and stalking, if your behaviour is intentionally causing harassment, alarm or distress, or involves the course of conduct that amounts to stalking, you may be breaking the law under the Public Order Act 1986 for the Prevention of Harassment Act 1997. Privacy. While there is no general right to privacy that stops you from filming in a public place, taking photos of people where they have a reasonable expectation of privacy, i.e. inside their own homes or private gardens, could lead to a breach of privacy laws. Private land. You need the landowner's permission to film from private land. Being on public land is a key distinction. The Terrorism Act, and this is really important for people, it is a specific offence to elicit information, including photography or video, about members of the armed forces, police officers, the intelligence services, if that information is likely to be useful to a person committing or perpetrating an act of terrorism. Police may make an arrest under this act if they have reasonable suspicion, although there is no defence of reasonable excuse. In summary, the act of filming itself is legal, but the manner in which you are filming and your intent are subject to existing laws regarding public order, harassment, or in national security. Number two, people always ask us, do you need permission? No. You do not have the right to privacy in a public place, including public houses, supermarkets, and even schools. This is obviously questionable by consent. A member of staff at the school or a police officer, including the PCSO, can see the footage. They can ask to see it. They can also ask you to delete the footage. You don't need to comply unless you're on an SPO, or similarly, by reason of suspicion, the images are borderline. Now, what I mean by that is if you're taking lots of pictures of little girls' legs, that in itself is reasonable suspicion that you're up to no good, and the police can act on that. If you're just taking a picture of a whole load of kids in a playfield, jumping through hoops and then this egg and spoon race, that is not illegal. Number three, I'd assault anyone that took pictures of my family, and I hear this time and time again. In fact, I heard it just 10 minutes ago on this very app, from, I think it was it Green Drip that said something?
Just hold on, yeah. Only reference people in this discussion today, not
Yeah.
outside of this live. Okay,
Yeah,
that's fair.
no, Green Drip made a comment earlier, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to focus on Green Drip's comment on that, yeah? I'd assault anyone that took pictures of my family. Then for that reason and that reason alone, your victim could use reasonable force and can press charges which would fall under the ABH, no provocation. Yeah, which means that if you did hit a person, Green Drip, who was just taking normal pictures, you would be done for ABH and not assault, because you deliberately went there to hurt that person for a reason that was lawful. Number four.
Can you just slow it down there? I just want to open up a little here. The reason for that is because, as far as the law is concerned, the individual is not doing a criminal act or recognizing a criminal act, and so when somebody perceives it as a wrong or perceives it as something like this, then when they act upon that, physically harming somebody is a criminal act. So that's the distinction there, where you have to be certain. Just simply, if somebody was just simply taking photographs of Green Drip's children, which is as it legally stands, we've stated that if it's in a park or a public place, somebody's taking photographs, like Valerie was taking photographs, they may have been, Green Drip's children in the background. That's not unlawful. But if then Green Drip, perceiving that a photograph has been taken of his child, approaches Valerie and physically touches or assaults her, then that does become a criminal offence. I just wanted to clarify that. That's correct, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So when the police come along and he says, because they took a picture of my child, you've just gave a reason for your actions and therefore it's ABH.
Okay.
I want to come back to number 4 if you don't mind. However, I will come to number 5, which is very important in this day and age, and it's called upskirting. Has anybody heard of that?
Yeah, this is actually one of the things on my topic today is upskirting. But I'm glad you brought that up, because that is a very important aspect of this discussion today of upskirting. So because you've started this, please can you inform the viewers and listeners exactly what upskirting is, when it was, and the legality of it?
So upskirting is when you take pictures of, doesn't have to be female, by the way. It can be anybody who's wearing a skirt or short trousers, anything like that. Yeah, it could be a man wearing a kilt, it could be a woman wearing a dress, it could be anything like that, where you're videoing either their genitals, and that includes buttocks and front genitals, and it also includes underwear, believe it or not. And I'm going to read that.
Okay.
So I took some notes for you, right? Okay. So in the UK, taking photos and videos up someone's skirt, known as upskirting, is a specific criminal offence under Voyeurism Act of 2019 in England and Wales, but it has been a specific crime in Scotland since 2010. The key details, and this is where we need to talk about this bit, because there is 2 sides to this, yeah? The law, which inserted 2 offences into the Sexual Offences Act of 2003, section 67A, states that a person commits an offence if they operate equipment like a camera or a phone beneath another person's clothing with or without their consent, intended to observe or enable another person to observe the victim's genitals, buttocks, or underwear covering those areas in circumstances where they would not otherwise be visible. So if somebody's wearing a see-through dress and you take a picture of them wearing a see-through dress, then that's their problem and not yours. If they have a proper full clothing on and you do that up the skirt, then that's your problem now. Next, have a motive of either obtaining SEO gratification or causing humiliation, distress, or alarm to the victim. This includes instances where a perpetrator claims the images were taken for a laugh, and that's important, yeah? Okay. The law is not limited to women wearing skirts, dresses.
Sorry, Brighton, I just didn't get that. Regarding the laugh or a joke, can you just repeat that, please? Because I've got
so confused. It includes instances where the perpetrator claims the images were taken for a laugh. Now, back in the day, we've all taken pictures of people's bits and pieces for a laugh. Yeah, we've all done it. You know, there's things such as teabagging, where people have taken pictures of somebody else being teabagged or whatever. You know, things like that. It was done for a laugh, and I need to come to that. That's a really important part. That is. Yes. Yeah. The law is not limited to women wearing skirts or dresses. It applies to anyone wearing kilts, shorts, trousers, or any other clothing of that description. The penalties. Offenders can face several penalties, including a maximum prison sentence of up to 2 years, a fine. In serious cases where the act was committed for SEO gratification, the offender will be placed on the sex offenders register. If it was done for a laugh in a group of lads, then they would not be put on the sex offenders register. If it was done in a supermarket by some pervy little man with bottle glasses, he would be put on the sexual offences register. Right? So I'm going to come back to number 4, which I think needs to part discussion for everybody on this one.
Okay, we'll come back to number 4, but is number 5 about upskirting?
Yeah.
All right, so I just wanted to come back to you on this aspect. I mean, I was quite not involved, but aware in 2019 when this law was passing through legislation. And first of all, my first thoughts were, how is this not even a crime? All right, this was like, it didn't even make sense to me that you could do that. And it was not up until, I actually remind people, it was not up until 2019, which is only like 6 years ago, that it became a criminal offense. Because that just didn't make any sense to me. And I would like to also, because I was following this legislation as it was passing through Parliament, and surprisingly, it had a great difficulty passing. It was somebody objected to it, and it was really a difficult pass. And you would think, well, wait on a minute, it just defies common sense that would be not illegal. But it is quite clear that upskirting, in its as it was then, was not formally illegal or unlawful until a legislation was passed in 2019 with great difficulty, may I add. And that was just surprising how the political and legal system works. It was not as obvious as many people would think that, oh, actually, that just sounds crazy, that should be illegal. It had a great deal of problems passing into legislation, but now it is law. So I just wanted to put that caveat in there before you continue, Brighton. Continue, please.
Yeah. So where was I? So number 4, and this is what I was wanting to discuss with everybody. What did I get to? Where did I get to? Right. So I hope you're all clear that photography in a public place is not illegal for anybody to take, and to take pictures of anyone. Right? It's what you're kind of doing with them. Now, you need to remember, right, that every shop you go in, every supermarket, doctor surgery, hospital, police station, they all have CCTV, and they're all taking pictures of you and your youngins and your shopping habits and your spending habits. All of that is being monitored constantly, especially with supermarkets. Now, these come under different conditions based on the fact that they're a business and need to be mindful of GDPR regulations pertaining to data storage. But that doesn't stop, believe you me, that does not stop, yeah, somebody who's operating them devices to download images from it. You know, it's crazy, really, right? But they do actually have different rules for these type of places. And similarly, if you're a member of the public, take Tesco's, for instance. I've recently had to deal with Tesco's, so I can take that as it's fresh in my mind. They have a policy, no cameras, but you don't punch above the law. The law says while the supermarket is open to the public, it is a public place. When it closes its doors at 10 o'clock at night, it is then a private and personal, business. And then their policies come into force as soon as that door is closed. When that door is opened to the public, it is now a public place. The same as a police station, same as a hospital, school, anything like that. So this is where people get confused about all these rules and regulations over photography and pictures.
Have you finished, or is there more to come?
Yeah, I'll just sit back. If anybody wants to ask any questions, I'm quite happy to help.
Well, first of all, I'm very, very grateful for your insight and the understanding that I didn't know this aspect about you. Obviously, you know who I am. I know who you are as well. We're well adversaries on this platform, but it's just quite kind of interesting to know that you provided us with quite a comprehensive understanding of the legal system. I do want to make it clear to the public where my position is and where my biases lie, because I myself and Michael here, I just just want to tell you where me and Michael are. We are also great advocates of amateur photographers, video takers, and auditors. And myself, I consider myself a citizen journalist, and to have those rights. When previously you heard Justice talking about, there's a distinction between press and citizens. Well, in my opinion, that there's no special rights for the press that a citizen journalist can do. So I'm basically a citizen journalist, and these rights of my freedom and liberty to record, photograph, are important for me as doing my civic duty in order to hold authorities to account. So that's my personal background, is that I would like to, I've stated this before, there are many dividing lines. I only recognize a dividing line between citizen and state. And as you can appreciate that Brighton here has talked about the rights of auditors to audit the police. It's a very pivotal aspect of a free liberal society to be able to, hold authority to account. And so I want to highlight my own biases on this aspect. And with regards to Don Michael here, my colleague, he's also an auditor. He does a lot of amateur photography, something that he has a personal interest in, and his particular focus is on exposing people who park in disabled bays. That's his personal interest. But as a free person, that's his choice. But I do have certain concerns about the rights that we have and abuses of power. And I think the other side would also argue, there are detrimental aspects to abusing those rights. I personally think that what Don Michael is a good friend of mine, and I hope he doesn't mind saying this, me saying this to him. But I've had many issues with the way he conducts himself in his auditing, and it can be used or misused or have malicious intentions. You see, so this is another aspect that Brighton here has talked about the legality of things, but everything that's legal or lawful can be manipulated and abused. And that kind of gray area is a subject that I want to be discussing about. And I think that's really prevalent because we're all effectively on one side as amateur photographers, let's just say. But there's another argument that's also very persuasive and strong, which I think both Brighton and myself have been subjected to in the past, which is the rights of people to withdraw consent. I mean, and it's even becoming even more pervasive, where we are all being recorded. And what is our right to privacy? But do we have a right to privacy? And should that be something that we should advocate for? Because the idea of Big Brother recording us is more frightening to me than what parents would argue is that a dirty old man misphotographing, us or children and stuff. We as a society are living in a surveillance state, and it's getting worse and worse. And this is why I think this discussion is very important. That look, maybe Don Michael here, even Brighton would like to have those rights, but then that also comes at a price. Where do we, as citizens, have certain rights, but then the state has also those rights, and where is it that we can hold the state to account? So these are kind of the discussions that we want to have for today.
And can I make one other point? Yeah, people keep on saying that, I own my image. You don't own your image. In fact, in law, it recognizes that God owns your image, believe it or not.
Okay. So sorry, just clarify what the argument is. It like your facial image, that you own your facial image? Because if that is an argument that's been put forward, then what about Lady Diana? What about all the celebrities? Why have they not been able to make that argument and copyright? Basically, what they're saying is that my face is my copyright.
That's
right?
But I think when you look at people, celebrities, they've all had Botox and all sorts of things done. So they've created a new image for the public, That may be where they get away with that. But for Joe public purposes, you don't own your image. God does, apparently, in law.
Hold on a second. Can you expand upon that? How does a celebrity who's had a facelift own their image?
Because it's been surgically enhanced.
Okay. But first of all, can a celebrity copyright or put any trademark on their facial image?
No, and they can't. No. They can insure their facial image. They can insure their legs if they're a leg model, hand model, anything like that. They can insure, but they do not own the image.
Okay, and I think this is another aspect of this discussion here today is that one of the problems that the celebrities are now facing is with the rise of, AI video generation and the level of sophistication that they can be effectively um, making adult content or pornographic, being involved, using their facial images being used in content that they have no control over. And this is another aspect because, as Brighton knows, my personal circumstances and everybody else who knows me personally knows that there are individuals that are adult content creators that are looking to protect their goods and services. So, Brighton, speaking in general terms, if you are an adult content creator and you want to protect, because that's your livelihood, because let's just say, for example, what I'm referring to is Bonnie Blue. All right, we all know who Bonnie Blue is. What rights or what can she do to ensure that her product or service, which is herself, is protected in law, so nobody can take her content and take her image and because she's already monetized that. That's her livelihood, you see. So can you just explain a little bit more about this for me?
So, so if she took the image, yeah, they can't actually sue somebody for their image as in their facial features, yeah, unless they've been altered, yeah. But where they get away with it as celebrities because they've got money and power and all the rest of it is they say, I took the image or my photographer took the image, therefore we own that image that you're now copying. So say I was a celebrity and I take a picture of myself pouting,
Yeah,
which I often do,
yeah,
right? And you took that image and used it in whatever form, I could technically sue you for taking that image. But if you took the picture of me, then that, and you then used it, as nothing I can do about it.
yeah.
So it's all down to copyright when it comes to
Yes,
that. But they
that's
don't own the image of their face.
yes. Because if that was the case, then the state wouldn't be able to surveil us because we could just sue them. And there is a question here that Justice keeps on referring to. Don Michael, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm still here.
I think Justice wants you to look up this legislation, which is taking pictures to cause alarm and harassment or distress is fundamentally illegal under the Act of 1997. Could you look into this about causing alarm and distress? Because Justice, just superficially looking at your argument, why was that argument then not used in the Lady Diana case, which obviously resulted in a fatality? And we all
So
love Lady Diana, and that was causing her alarm and distress, which led to a fatality. So you would think the fact that there would be further protection for, and I don't understand the difference between celebrities and individuals. Why should celebrities have more rights than individuals?
Shazad, I've already covered that, yeah, under the 1997 Harassment Act, yeah, is to take the pictures to cause the alarm and harassment, and that's what's important. Did the person take the pictures to cause that, or did they take the pictures for another reason? You know?
Okay,
So
so
to take the pictures, so if I'm sitting outside your door, Shazad, waiting for you to come out, and that's causing you alarm and harassment and distress, yeah, that is where the crime has been committed.
But just
Yeah.
hold on, just hold on, Brighton, for 1 second. Then why do celebrities who have been subjected to paparazzi not use this as a defense to protect themselves? Because that clearly does. I've seen celebrities being alarmed and distressed by being photographed, and I think some of them have punched the people as well. But can you tell me why they can't use this law?
Well, the reason they don't, and this is why paparazzi keep on swapping around. So every day it's a different paparazzi set, yeah? Because you have to be there more than one time to cause alarm, harassment, and distress. You have to be there at their place more than once. So you go the first day, you've taken your pictures. What they do then is they swap over with each other. They all write, I don't know, Prince Charles today, so you better do him tomorrow, because otherwise I'll get done with alarm, harassment, and distress.
Can you do it the day after?
I think the reasonable, where the law's concerned, and actually the police implement that, is the reasonable expectation is 3 months, 12 weeks.
Okay, just 1 second. There's a comment. Sorry, go ahead.
Or if the celebrity has done something really naughty, really bad, really controversial, where there's lots of paparazzi are going to congregate there to get their picture.
1 second, Brighton. There's a commenter called Nana B here, and she says
Yeah.
papers have been sued for taking pictures. Now, could you just expand upon that if you know something about this? Otherwise, I'll get Nana B up to explain her
Yeah.
situation. But
So, say you're in your back garden, you have an expectation of privacy. Now, some paparazzi were saying, but they were I was in public and I could see. They
Yeah.
have a reasonable expectation in their gardens or their place of work or their place of wherever they are, the gym, whatever they're doing. If a business has got a reasonable expectation of privacy, they shouldn't be taking them pictures. Which is why paparazzi use these big telescopic lenses and things like that, because they think they're smart by sitting in the public area looking into your garden or looking into your house, and that's wrong. That's still illegal because they have an expectation of privacy in their home, in their
All
place
right.
of work, and in the garden, believe it or not.
When we're on this topic, I think we need to start introducing the newer technology like drones flying over your back garden. That's one thing. And then I'm not sure if you're familiar, there was a landmark legal case where somebody was a neighbor to somebody and had a doorbell or had a camera that overlooked the neighbor's garden. And that they managed to successfully argue that the doorbell, even though it was fixed, and it was ended up peering into the neighbor's garden, was an invasion of that person's privacy. And do you know about this case?
I do, and it was because the camera could see 3/4 of the other person's garden, so it
Yes.
wasn't. What the judge said is, well, it's not watching your specific garden or your doorway. It was looking directly into theirs, and there's 3/4 of the picture is in their property, so there's where the invasion of privacy comes in. If the camera was slightly turned and it was looking onto the street, which most doorbells do, they look onto the street, then they're fine to use. But
Okay,
where
and-
you get
in my
a doorbell,
Sorry. Go
so
ahead.
you get doorbell cameras that have got wedges that come with them,
Yep.
and these wedges, they turn the camera slightly. They're supposed to be for your own property, but if they look
the
onto
thing
another
is,
person's property,
I personally don't agree with that judgment that was made because let's take this example. I can sit in the end of my garden, all right, get a cup of coffee, sit down in my chair. I'm in my garden, just look into my neighbor's garden 24 hours a day. Is that invasion of their privacy?
no, it's a funny one, that one, isn't it? Really,
Yeah.
but
Because the thing is, then the argument remains is that whatever I can see should not be deemed as private. Sorry, go ahead. I think you got some dogs beating you up. Okay, so let's look at some of these comments. I think there's a Nana. I think there's a what up legal mama. I think this is an individual that's got a personal issue and a vendetta against me. Seems to be following me around, saying bad things about me. But would you like to come up? What's up, legend? Go on, I'll give you an invite because I think you've got some issues with me. And if you can have a discussion about them, I'll send this invite to them.
everybody's got an issue with you, Shazad. Everybody's got an issue with you.
Oh, pot kettle black. Mate, just hold on a second, all right? Everybody's got an issue with me. What about you, fella?
Yeah, me too. I'm
Yes.
just pointing at the obvious.
Yeah,
Right.
that's fair. Sorry, go ahead, Don Michael, go ahead.
Right, and I've got a question for you. Are you part of Marty from Leeds, the auditor? He begins with a B.
I know Marty very well.
Yeah, because I think he's always talking about Pinnock.
Yes, he is. But
Right, and I'm afraid I've got a friend, and I know Kev, Yorkshire auditor, because I
yes, I know him.
I used to live round corner from him. I'm not going to give the location of his address, but I used to live round not far from him.
I don't mind Kev. I like Kev, but Marty
Yeah.
gets on my nerves.
He's a good laugh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I think look, we're connecting people here. Look, Don Michael knows about this group. I'm not familiar with any of this stuff, but it's good to know that we've got quite a lot of people here. Brighton, Don Michael, myself, to make one line of the argument. I would like members of the live who have a different argument to make. I think Nana B. And I think this one individual that's got it in for me, which is what up legends, and there's another, but there is another argument to be made, particularly the rights of parents for children. I think this seems to be a really sticking point. So I'm going to invite people up. In the meantime, I would like Valerie to take that stance. Valerie, like obviously, you can understand why people like myself, men effectively, and auditors or photographers believe in this right of photography. But there's another counter narrative where, people that, particularly a mother against a child who's underage. So where does that green line stand? And I think that's what the controversy has been here. It's like a mother trying to protect her children from, being photographed. It's not even her being photographed, but a child maybe. That's, I think, an argument that maybe justice can forward. And then we'll be looking at other things like drones flying over gardens, what we can do as citizens to try to safeguard and protect ourselves from our right to privacy, because it's a fundamental right to have a private family life. It's protected by the Human Rights Act. But where is privacy? Some may argue that as soon as you leave the front door, your right to privacy is not there. Others may, and one of my arguments has been, particularly with the authorities, that if you go into a place of work, you can't have an expectation of privacy. So these are the kind of discussions that we want to have today. But I just want to, if I can ask everybody else to be muted, I do want to speak to Justice, who I do know previously, and I'm thanking her for coming on the live. Can we not mention any names or any particular incidences? We're just trying to keep it kind of at a higher abstract level, and if you can present some of your arguments or sentiments.
Good afternoon. You're right.
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I just want to put in just maybe 3 counter arguments towards it. There's the human rights aspects.
Yes.
Of the mother and family to have a natural, normal family life, as well as the child to have a natural, normal life, both in and outside the home and in public spaces. Okay, there's also the Act of 1997, which I put forward, and one that's also just become available in the life, the one of protecting children of 1989. So there's 3 counter arguments there to squash everything there that are there to protect children.
Okay. Is there a child?
Well, especially when they're under a certain age as well. I think when it comes to that, and then there's non-permission, and then there's the intent of to later use those images for malice purposes. That's when the lines of legalities differ.
I think that's a very, very important point, because even though something may be lawful and legal, that you can Yes. And I think that's
all I'm going to say, and I'll drop from the box now.
No, it's okay. Please do stay, because I think that important aspect is that something can be legal or lawful, but nothing is right or legal or lawful, I would argue, if there's malicious intention behind it. If anything has a malicious intention behind it, malice cannot be protected by law. So if you're doing something that on the face of it seems like it's not against the law, but you have malicious intentions, that a law, you can't then use the law to protect you. All right, it's all about establishing the intention. So when people can say, well, actually, it's not technically illegal or unlawful. Well, I would argue that if your intentions were malicious to start with, or so we're now delving into the area of intent. So if you know the law, like if you're a solicitor or a barrister, and you know the fact that what can be proven is one thing, but I'm acting with malicious intention, and how do we recognize malicious intention, and what can be done to prevent that? I think that's another important argument, because there are legal justifications or no malicious intentions when maybe publicly photographing, but how do we discern where the malicious intention comes in? Because no law will protect you if you're acting with malice. And I would argue that the best criteria to determine what is right and wrong is if it's causing alarm and distress to another person. So if you're doing something that's causing alarm and distress, and the other person said, look, this is causing me alarm and distress, can you not do it? and the other person says, well, not legally, I have a right to do this. But then, this is the kind of gray area that I want to focus in on this live. That where, as a civilized society, do we find that, look, we need to treat other people with respect and courtesy. And as you've heard in Valerie's case, her granddaughter said, look, Grandma, I don't like my picture out there. Can you remove it? And as a family unit, with courtesy and respect, that was undertaken. But then there are other circumstances where there may be a conflict between the two individuals, and where, as a society, we decide that, look, this is now maybe not technically illegal, but you're acting with malicious intentions, and if malice can be shown and proven, that is illegal against the things that any laws that they're utilizing to protect themselves. That's what I just wanted to add into that.
Maybe, though, if we took them down and respected people, it wouldn't turn into the argument.
Yes, I think that's a very valid point, Valerie. But the problem is, a platform like TikTok works on narcissistic controlism and trolling. So this whole platform is worked and geared around that. So we're on a platform that effectively encourages narcissism, effectively encourages rage baiting, and then we're trying to be civilized in a platform that encourages uncivility. And as you can appreciate, outside of this live today, many other people have effectively TikTok beefs, and they have personal vendettas against each other. And so, the lines that as a society we may have, as a lines in society that we may recognize in the public domain, online, because that's another element, isn't it? When, I'll get you up, Brighton, just 1 second, where people may act and behave in one manner in the real world, but when it comes to like online, they keyboard warriors or whatever, they believe that they control people from behind the keyboard, and they're protected because of their anonymity, and then they can dox people. Another problem here that we want to talk about is doxing, which is a new term that I've come across. And doxing basically means giving the private details out of somebody on TikTok for the intended purposes of causing them alarm and distress. So this is the same element here. If doxing has malicious intentions, publicizing somebody's pictures can also be seen in that category and realm, you see.
You have a slight point on that. And yes, it's all down to intention.
Yes.
So the Harassment Act, say, for instance, you take a picture of somebody and there's not a problem with that picture. And then, say, a month, 2 months down the line, you now have a problem because you have beef with that person.
Yes.
Then it's not harassment and it's not malicious. Yeah. So just because you decide to have selective outrage about something that they've done, yeah, the law doesn't get.
No, you talk about the law and how the law can be utilized and manipulated. And we're talking about actually the laws are there to have civilized conduct and behavior. All right. So we as a collective society, we need to respect each other. It all starts from respecting each other. Those laws are there to enforce that respect and other people's freedom and liberty. So here, you and I and maybe Don Michael saying, look, we want the right to record and photograph people, but that has to be in the context of other people's right to privacy or not wanting to do that. So this is the kind of the area that we're on, and also we're shifting the focus now from not the real world but from online social media and people acting with malice. And then so that's one aspect, and the other aspect is retrospective consent or retrospective withdrawal of consent. That's another aspect.
So again, as I said, somebody brought up the legality of it all. Yeah, if there was no malice intended at the time the photograph was taken, say, right, and say you're friends and you have a fallout over something, and then one of them decides to pull you up for doing that, right? Just for instance, yeah, the law legally. There's nothing the law can do about that, no matter how much you scream and shout. Yeah, it's not against the law. What is against the law?
Right, sorry to interrupt you there. I understand what you're saying, but we're not in a courtroom of law here. We're in a courtroom of public opinion and how we as a society can live together. All right. So I appreciate.
I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that.
About your morals.
Yeah, I'm coming to that. So let me finish.
Yeah.
What I find, yeah, really upsetting about people who want to talk about morals is they don't want to talk about what caused that to happen in the first place.
Yes. I think that's a very important point as well.
say for
Yes.
instance, two people have a fallout, yeah, and say one person lied, and the other person has to show that that is a lie, then that where's the morality there, Valerie? You know,
Okay.
is it?
I think
And I don't mean
I
I'm
think
not being rude to Valerie. I'm just asking, where's the
no.
morality there?
I think personally myself, I would not defend myself because I know myself. I would step away. And people that know me, and people that don't know me, well, who are they to judge?
if,
Um,
1 minute, Brighton. I'm just going to have to go to the little boys' room, so we're not going to be
yeah,
talking. So
that's fine.
if you can talk among yourself, Don Michael, if you can take charge, I'll be back in about 5 minutes.
Okay.
Hi, Braxton.
So, Valerie, sometimes a lie, like what's recently happened to me, a lie has caused me extreme alarm, harassment, and distress
Oh,
because
just
I've had.
1 second. Brighton, just 1 second. I just had to come back. No personal stories. Keep it abstract, not personally, because then, keep it abstract, please. Just that.
Okay,
All
so
right.
say for instance, that person told a lie that caused a group of people to then attack them verbally or orderly or video and put up images and put up AI images and make videos of them. They done that to cause that person alarm, harassment, and distress. If that person has to put up evidence to counteract that person's lie, then where do you stand on that, Valerie? I mean, morally, you have to defend yourself, especially on this app. You have to be telling people
I think I'd
that's
walk
a lie.
away. I think I'd walk away. I think I know myself, and if I have to defend myself, then people don't really know me.
Well, some of us have got like platforms here. Some people have got a financial interest in TikTok. I myself don't, but some people do. So they would be hit financially. They would be hit physically, emotionally, mentally. So people who put up lies to deliberately hurt somebody and tell a lie to deliberately hurt somebody, they should be held accountable. And if that person has to put up pictures or videos or anything else to prove that that is a lie and it was okay until you had that
No, I
fallout.
listen to him sometimes. Okay, I listen to him, and I listen a lot to the receipts. I don't ever see the receipts. And I just thought in my mind it's a load of toffee, and it wasn't something I wanted to listen to, so I scrolled past.
Well, as I said, people's reputations and financial situations were hit hard because of that, or could be hit hard because of the online bullying by a certain group of people.
I don't understand why you all want to be horrible to each other, really. I think there's so much hatred and negativity out there, and it's just nice sometimes to spread a bit of love or a bit of awareness. And if you haven't really got anything nice to say, then maybe not say anything at all. And I should take my own advice sometimes, but I try to not be horrible to people or to upset people. And if I don't like what people say, I scroll past.
And I'm glad we're coming to the AI side of it in a minute, because I really have an issue myself with that, which
Yeah. Hi,
I
guys.
think is
I'm
absolutely
back
crazy.
now. Yeah, I'm back now. Thank you for continuing in my absence. But I just caught what Valerie was saying, and one of my campaigns is make love, not war, and have lots of babies. So I'm still part of that campaign. I obviously don't want to see hatred, spreading of hatred on a platform like this, or even just negative energy, like Valerie is saying. But unfortunately, one of the realities is that a platform like this does kind of bring out the worst in you, and it brings out the kind of childish immaturity aspect of you. Like, he said this to me, I'm going to say this to him. And I've noticed this with a lot of people on here, that it just reminds me of a playground tactics that they're playing. And or so this is one of the aspects. Yeah, of course, we want to spread love, and especially this month, I would like to remind Christmas is coming up. There must be a time of merriment and joy and goodwill to all men. But unfortunately, people have got these vendettas and stuff, and I think the purpose of this live, you may not understand this, but I think when people take things into their own hands and act like vigilantes, then it's causing a lot of more harm, alarm, and distress when people take the law into their own hands. And it can be simply because of misunderstanding about, if they were just informed or educated, then they can have like a better understanding, see it from another perspective, and have an appreciation from another person's perspective. I think that's one of the problems that happens, is that sometimes we live in echo chambers and we believe we're right, and then what happens is a witch hunt can happen, and you think, well, we're all right, and demonize somebody, and then that can lead to like physical or physical violence and aggression, which I'm totally against. And I don't encourage anybody to take things to such an extreme, because if people don't talk about something, if you make it all taboo, let's not talk about this subject, then obviously people formulate their own opinions and effectively convince themselves that they're, guardians of justice and truth, and take the law into their own hands. I like to tell people that, you should never take the law into your own hands, and you should never look to cause somebody else harm, alarm, and distress, or even physical violence. If it's like Valerie was saying, if somebody is upsetting you, block, move on. That person's not right for you. We are a community of diverse individuals. We're all gonna clash against each other, and it's like just an understanding that people have a right to be who they want to be in the way that they feel is right. But to like target and name calling and like acts of aggression and violence or thuggery is just not really acceptable in a civilized society. You wouldn't expect that on anybody else, would you? So you shouldn't really encourage this kind of behavior, and that's the real purpose of this life, is to just sit down and speak to other people about what the arguments are, and look at it from another person's perspective to help them change their mind. And the individuals that I have in mind right now, I just want them to equally think about, like, okay, I'm right, because everybody thinks they're right and everybody else is wrong. But can it not be the fact that both of you can be right and both of you can be wrong? And just trying to take a time to look at it from another person's perspective before the situation escalates into physical violence. And we don't want to be taking up the police time and resources on unnecessary stuff. And obviously, I'm trying to promote a message of peace and harmony. But it's very difficult on a platform like this when everybody's got big egos and, vendettas and grudges.
I think the human nature, especially of certain genders, it's just like this in this day and age, it's just went crazy. Females think that they can get away with things.
Well, look, Brighton. I don't necessarily agree with you on this. Okay, I think many
I've
men.
seen it. I've seen it.
Okay. But because you've seen it doesn't mean you've seen it on TikTok, haven't you?
Oh, most of it is on TikTok.
Yes. So to make a generalization, like, this is obviously we're dangerously walking into the territory of, biases here, or making.
It's not a bias, Shazad. It's a fact. Yeah, there is certain females on this app that think that they are big bollocks. They can run around and say and do what they want without consequence.
Brighton. Just 1 second. Just curve your enthusiasm for 1 second here. Yeah.
But again, if you don't like what they're saying,
yes,
roll past.
Exactly. And
it's very hard, Valerie, when they're discussing your private life.
Okay. But you can be the bigger man, all right, and move on. But
not doing it. Sorry, Shazad. Told you that already. I'm not doing it.
Okay.
How do they know so much about your private life?
But they made it up, Valerie. They made it up completely.
Okay, can we not talk about specifics here, because this topic is not about this, not the Brighton show here. We're not talking about. We want to keep it general and keep it.
Okay, then I'll keep it general.
All right,
to sit on an app and discuss somebody's medical history without any knowledge of it, without an ounce of evidence, is absolutely disgusting. To sit there discussing somebody as being autistic, to me, that's just out of this world. to sit
Okay,
there and discuss somebody's medical history when they don't even know them. You have no right to do that. And I've
Brighton,
seen that on this app
Brighton.
time and time again.
Brighton, just 1 second, please. Just take a deep breath. I'm going to drop you for a second. And the reason I'm dropping you, nothing malicious, I'm going to have you get back, but I just want you to take a breath because, you know, me and Valerie have met you before and we've liked what you put so far, but we just feel that the rage monster's coming out. I want you to
No,
just take a breath.
I'm purely saying what I've seen on the app.
No, I understand this, but I can see in your tone and intonation that there's it's falling, it's building up to something. So I'm just going to drop you, mate, and I'm just going to have a discussion. And I'll call you back. Just 1 second. Right. So yeah, Brighton, do come back. I can just see the fact that there's I know who Brighton is, and I can just see an element of him just building up to something. And I just wanted to quickly intervene there because I think sometimes what he's trying to say on his illegal, it's a good argument that I'm going to tell you this story about two individuals that have inspired me. I'm just going to name them Joseph and Mary. All right, just to not name anybody here, as two individuals that are having this debate about issues of photography and rights. But I think there needs to be, you need to take a responsible approach to things. You have to be, basically, these people are acting like childish, and they should take like a grown-up attitude. Now, what he was talking about in the gender stuff, all right, well, who's Mary? Okay, well, Mary and Julie then, if that makes you feel better. But what I'm trying to say is that there is a strong moral argument that's being made here. That look, you're taking photographs of children, all right, and that's wrong. And next question needs to be, but why is it wrong? And the answer to that is because you're potentially doing something malevolent with your intentions are not good. So what's happening there is that certain individuals are then making inferences about a person's intentions. And what the inferences are is that this person, and this is another word that gets bashed around this app all the time, which is PDF, or he's a PDF. So you're making the assumption that somebody is a PDF. And that when somebody makes that assumption, I think what Brighton was trying to say, that has detrimental consequences. And then to say that you are a PDF because I'm a mother taking protection of my child, and therefore, you know, it takes a bit of responsibility here as well on both parties. You can't go around dishing it out and then expect to not get a blowback from that. Where was just because somebody took a picture of your child, where is the connection? Or he must therefore be a wrong 'un. And you'll see that what's happening on this app a lot more is that everybody feels that they can justify their own atrocious behavior, conduct and behavior on this app of bullying and intimidating others by then saying it's justified because that other person is a wrong 'un. All right, then therefore my conduct and behavior, everything I'm doing is okay. And I'm going to give you an example of somebody that I know on this app that's very close to me in my heart, which is Michelle Matthews. She's unknown on here as Queen Bee, and I'm going to name her and shame her because she's an individual that I know of that does this to somebody, and I think we're all familiar with these individuals. Michelle Matthews has an obsession with a guy called Rangi, and she has been on a 22-month campaign calling him a wrong-un and a PDF, slandering him, and making his life literally hell on this app. Now he hasn't responded to that, but can you understand that if he was to respond, what would he target? Calling a female a PDF does not have the same issues or same gravitation as calling a male a PDF, because we assume that a PDF is usually a male. The reality is the facts may speak something differently. But can you understand and this is what I think Brighton was trying to get across when he mentioned the gender divide, is that it's very, very easy for any female to go around utilizing that word, which is equally offensive to someone like Rangi, who's saying, well, I'm not like this, and to be slandered. And then for him, and he hasn't done this, by the way, but you can understand someone like me, if I was called that by Michelle Matthews, I am not Rangi, and I've got quite a venom in my tail as well. So I would then feel, oh, it's okay then, you're going to come for me, I'm going to find out what's your weakness, all right, and you're making assertions and judgments saying the fact that I'm a PDF. So, this is how a male would react. Male would react, well, I'll show you how much of a PDF I am then. All right, and then I'll target your child. And can you understand this is now escalating? So there has to be a responsible approach. If you go around calling other people slanderous, nasty names, and then be surprised and shocked, oh my God, they responded. Well, what did you expect? Then you can, oh, I'm a little old lady, gender, then my child, oh, look, I've got a disabled child here. Well, did you not think of that beforehand? It's this aspect of being very loose with your own tongue and not respecting other people, but then demanding that they respect you because of your gender, because of your socioeconomic status, because of that you're looking after a disabled child. It's like, if you're going to give it out, then you can expect to get it back. And then you don't be shocked when you're going to get it back. I think that's the point I wanted to articulate. I hope I've done a better job of articulating it as somebody who's not related to this issue and is objectively not biased. But the reality is that when people get consumed into this idea that, look, he's targeting me as because of my gender, because of disabled child, that's also being weaponized. And when you're utilizing words like that person's a PDF without any evidence and just assuming that everybody's a PDF, then you're not going to expect some consequences, because that individual that you're labeling as a wrong or a PDF, they have family, they have friends, they have a work, they have other communities that you're passing aspersions on. But then that person has to defend himself. So this is, I think, the argument that I'm trying to get across here. Everybody claims to be on the moral high ground that we're all innocent. It's the other person that's wrong. First of all, look at your own conduct and behavior. Why did you pass judgment because somebody took an innocent photograph? Like you heard here, green drip coming up earlier on. If somebody takes a photograph of my child, like, I'm going to do something. Why? Why can't it be? Why can you not suspend your what I'm going to call PDF phobia? All right, and maybe that was innocent, but you make the assumptions that this person is like a wrong un. And this is so much thrown around, and this is what I seem to be the cause of a lot of these TikTok dramas, is everybody just accusing everybody else of being a wrong un. And particularly that has real detrimental consequences if you're a particular male of a particular age group. And then, if you're trying to earn a living and people are saying these things about you, that can be seen as, very negative. So if you don't throw stones if you live in glass houses. That's all I was just trying to get across. And I hope I haven't offended people by, giving another perspective.
I'd like to add to that.
Go ahead, Valerie.
I'd like to add to that Rangi held his head up high.
Yes.
And in the end, the truth came to light.
Yes. and that may be Rangi, rather than seen as a wrong un. I do admire that person because I don't have his patience, mate. If somebody did that to me, I would have reacted. I'm the type of guy that turns up at your house. Okay, so the reality is that he's never responded or reacted so far. And he's always like, and this is one of the reasons I hold someone like Rangi in a great deal of respect, is because after all the mudslinging and smearing campaign for 22 months, what has he done? He's not made any AI videos. He's not lowered himself to that level.
Carried on with his own campaign.
Yeah, he just continued with his own campaign. And I think, if anything, if somebody here, knowing Rangi and the hate and disdain that you hold for him, because of somebody else's campaign, particularly Michelle Matthews' campaign, if you can just change your mind and see the fact that this person was, it's now coming out that there was no evidence. This is just one woman's paranoia and delusions and mania targeting somebody and then causing mass hypnosis and, smearing somebody. I think there's a lesson to be learned. Even in your worst enemy, you can find a quality that's admirable. I've always found admirable qualities in Michelle Matthews. That's why I love her, because of her admirable qualities. Unfortunately, also, she's a demon as well. If you're looking for a demon in Michelle Matthews, I'm sure it's a very easy task to find. But she's
I thought we weren't going to use personal stuff, Shazad.
No, I can use personal stuff about Michelle Matthews and Rangi. I don't want to use personal stuff about Joseph and Mary because they might take offense. And obviously, when I've asked Joseph or Mary outside of this live, they said, please, can you not mention our names? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I want to come back to it.
Yeah, I'll give you where Brighton. Just 1 second. I just want to finish with the Valerie first.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Valerie.
going to respect people, Mary and Joseph, but I have liked what you've had to say on the law as well, and I'm really looking forward to hearing about the drones.
Yes, that's a really interesting topic, isn't it? I'm looking forward to having that discussion. But let's give it back to Brighton. But before we do so, I'm just conscious of my co-host Don Michael, who's a very quiet individual. Don Michael, is there anything that you want to say before we continue?
Yes, I've got a question for Brighton.
Yeah, go ahead.
Brighton, a few years ago, I filmed some individual parking in disabled bay in Asda at Huddersfield. And I got saying you shouldn't film me and stuff like that, including the security guard. And I stuck both of them on YouTube for what they've done, right, and the abuse what I got. YouTube removed it and I put it back on again, right? Then I got another issue with Bradford Broadway Centre with security guards not wearing the SIA badge. And I filmed that idiot not wearing his SIA badge. And they're saying, you can't film us because it's in a private building, but it's public as well.
So,
And let me finish, please. Right. I find it stupid. They've got the right to film us, but when we turn the table around and film them, they don't like it.
that's what I was saying earlier. When a shopping centre or a supermarket is open, the minute it opens its doors to the public, it is then under the normal rules of engagement, so to speak, right? So they can't stop you videoing or filming inside the shopping centre. Yeah, you could take a civil action against them if they try to, and your evidence of that would be that if you found other people on YouTube or Facebook who filmed themselves, I don't know, horsing around or looking good or doing their nails or their hair and inside that shopping centre, and nothing was ever done and no complaint was made, then you have a civil action against them, the particular place, because why are they letting them do it, but they're not letting you film a crime being committed? So then the onus is on them to now prove why they're letting one person film and not the other. So you do actually have a civil claim against them for that.
Okay. For me, I don't live in the UK no more. I live in Italy.
Oh, you lucky sod.
Yes, but can I just chime in there, because obviously, me and Don Michael are very good friends. He's my co-host. I've known him for some time, but I do not agree with his conduct and behavior. I've seen some of his videos, and this is, I think, a very important point, that although Don Michael is in the same group as us, I believe that Don Michael uses that right and abuses it. And he uses that to bully and intimidate people. All right, and I've mentioned this to Don Michael before as well. There's a reasonable expectation, and there's also an element of where, right, that's it, I'm gonna get you now. And what I'm gonna do,
disagree with you, Shaz, on that.
I know you do. I know you do. We have a disagreement.
Hang on, wait. Because if somebody's parking in a disabled bin and not got a disabled badge, right? And yes, I go up and film them because I'm not wearing the badge. If they move the car, right, then I don't put them on YouTube, right?
Absolutely.
But if they attack me, then I will stick them on YouTube.
Yeah, and this is where maybe Brighton would support you, because he's also a disabled badge user. But what I think is about intentions, you see, what you do is that you are basically, and this is what Brighton does as well, get the technicalities of the law in order to bully and intimidate people. And this is where I don't agree with this.
Oh, wait a second. No, it's exercising my lawful right.
It's called being a cunt.
No, it's called exercising your lawful right.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have
that's
a,
a yeah, no,
you
no,
have
but
the lawful right.
The thing is, it's called being a cunt. All right, you know it is. And then when I'm going to call you out, and I'm going to look, this is a very good friend of mine, Don Michael. And when he's doing stuff like that, obviously he has his own opinions. But let's call it for what it is. All right, he's using his right, abusing it in order to shame and slander somebody, when the reality is that no, but just hold on a second. If you look at some of his content, he will go over there, oi, why you parked there? All right, with the intention of rage baiting, so he gets like, who the hell are you? And then he'll be like, oh, because you can't park there. And he goes, all right, well, you know, it's the approach that he takes. If he took a different approach, if his intentions really were, you know, honorable, I don't think he would be able to get the content that he wants. He's got a camera with him. His intention is to antagonize people. And when they respond, then he's rage baited them. And then he plays the victim. And that's what you do as well. Not you, but that's what some people do as well. What they do is they know the law, they know the rights. And what they do is they antagonize the other individual. And it's all about intentions, you see. I don't think Don Michael's intentions are truly honorable. And that's why I've called him up on it. And this is something that we've discussed about it. Obviously,
I have to disagree with you there, and I'll tell you why. Don
Right,
Michael sounds to me very much like Marty B, yeah?
Yeah.
So these content creators, these auditors, yeah, and you will find this all the way, right? The only content they've got is the bad content, yeah? When somebody goes up, when they start filming and somebody goes up to them and says, oh, you're right, I shouldn't be parked here, I'll move now. He just told you he won't put that content up. There's nothing there. There's no confrontation.
Albright,
no...
right. But can you understand, if you're a content creator, you want content. And you know, many TikTok, it's called rage baiting. So what he does...
But most people...
Just hold on one second. Just hold on 1 second, please. Let me just finish this, yeah? Because I can clearly see what he's doing, and he thinks he's being clever about it. And I don't think he's being clever about it, and I don't think you're being clever about it. Because what you're trying to do as a content creator, you go up to somebody and you say, look, you parked in the wrong place. They go, oh, sorry, mate, I apologize, and move on. You've just lost out there, haven't you? Because you're not going, no content. Remember, you need content in order to get views, in order to get revenue. So you've just lost out there. But if you take a different tack and a different approach, you go, oh, mate, what are you doing there? And come up with that aggressive approach. Then you're going to get rage baited, aren't you? And then you've got your content. So this is the reality. Let's be honest here. And first of all, who's made Don Michael a personal crusader or a vigilante or whatever? It's these people that have a personal crusade that need content, that call rage bait people, and then they claim to be victims. Oh, look.
Hold on a minute. Don, are you a disabled badge user?
I am a disabled badge user, blue badge user, but not in because my badge is expired.
Then there you go.
Let me finish. I was a blue badge user in the UK, including from my mother, who's not here no more. And there's loads of times you're trying to park your car.
Exactly.
And you can't park up because you get some idiots park the car, right, in the disabled bay. And when I'm walking along slowly with walking stick, or when my mum was alive, pushing her in the wheelchair, because I can use the wheelchair as a support for me to walk like a rollator, as well as pushing my mum around slowly. And you go to and you see people parking there illegally in the disabled bay, and I'll just say to them nicely, but I'll film them at the same time for my own protection. And I will say to them, you shouldn't be parking there. I mean, it's for blue badge, and you get all sorts of name abused and stuff. And
yes, I was just going.
And that's when I start putting them on social media. And I'll make sure I got the car registration, everything, and I'll stick it on social media. And I don't give a damn if it upsets them or not.
Well, thank you very much for saying it clearly. He doesn't give a damn.
No, that's exactly what my point is, Shazad. Yeah, he's a disabled user. He has a right to challenge. Yeah, and he exercised that right to challenge. The same as if somebody was rude to you, you know, in a racial way, you have the right to challenge them for doing that. We all have a right to challenge when somebody does something against us.
Still, I'm not denying that, but I'm going to call you guys out as cunts because I'm calling it like it is. It's the approach that you take. Like, for example, if Don Michael's already got a camera recording, all right, he's not got permission from those people. He doesn't need permission, but can you understand, if a person has done something basically done something wrong, he's coming with a camera and then saying, I'm being reasonable. Well, what happens if that person then takes out a camera? Can you understand? It's a staged event. All right, and then he's brushing it off and saying, "Oh no, but I'm in the right, legally, technically."
No, he just told you he opens his camera for his protection because, believe it or not, a lot of disabled people who challenge able-bodied people for parking illegally are assaulted. There's a hell of a lot of them.
No, but you're being hypocritical, and this is one of the things I'm not going to allow. I call Michael out.
I have been attacked 2 or 3 times when I film people, and when I've been to police, they've not done nothing about it.
Why did he get attacked, mate? You got attacked because you were being confrontational.
Yeah.
Go and tell everybody. Yeah, so you've been going up to somebody who's minding their own business, who have many people, even on this platform, have a perception that they have a right to privacy. So that's their
Yeah,
perception.
but Chaz, so sorry, right? But people's parking and disabled bay, and then I can't use it, or anybody else can't use it, and they know it's wrong. What's their privacy? They're in a
I'll tell you
public.
what,
Hang
that's
on
not
a minute. Wait.
Oh, what?
They're in a public. They're in a public place. I've not filmed them inside their house. I've not gone to film them in the bog, sitting on having a number 2. I've filmed them in a public place.
Committing a criminal offence.
Just hold on a second. See, this is where you guys, I think you need to look at from all I'm asking on this platform. If I'm asking my viewers here, which is like 23 viewers here, change your mind, then I'm asking the same thing about yourself, change your mind. And I'm happy to have my mind changed as well. What I'm explaining to you is not what you're doing, it's the execution of how you're doing it. It's not what you're saying, it's the way you're saying it. It's the way you're conducting your behavior. Now, for example, Michael does have a right, like, he does it, and so does Stell, that other people, able-bodied people, should not be using disabled bays. Just take that as an argument. Now, if you were to go up to somebody who knows they're being naughty there, all right, and you put up to politely say, look, mate, I've got disability, please would you mind moving the vehicle, treating another person with respect.
Shazad, stop right there, yeah? I am going to use my personal experience here. I go up to people who don't have a badge, and I say to them, quite politely, you forgot to put your badge in the window. And they reply, I don't have one. And I say, well, this is a disabled bay, you can't park here. And they say, F you, and walk away. Okay. That happens to me quite a lot. Yeah.
And this is exactly what Don Michael does as well. When you know what happens when people are doing
you just said speak politely, and I did. I say, oh, excuse me, you forgot to put your badge in the window. And they say, I don't have one. That's not what Don Michael does.
No, just hold on a second. When you confront somebody who's doing a wrong thing, do you another thing that Don Michael would want to do? What do you expect them to do? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Let me kiss your feet. They obviously got one of two ways of reacting. So this is how human nature works. They know they're in the wrong. They can either supplicate themselves to you, or where you then got authority over them, and nobody wants to have authority over some random another citizen. So when you go over and point out their wrongness, then you effectively are trying to exert your authority over them. And they basically, when they tell you to F off, what they're telling you is that you have no authority over me. I'll do as I please. That's what the language in between is. But the way you've gone over it, what kind of response do you want from them? Do you expect them to bow to you? They know they're doing something wrong. I think it's just that being sensitive about another person, politely respecting them, and that little interchange can turn very hostile very quickly because of lack of insensitivity.
Well, since you're not a blue badge holder, let me tell you how it works. Yeah, when they know they've done something wrong, and they know that they're parked there illegally, they will fight to the death about that, and they won't give a damn. So they don't give a damn about you in the first place. So why should they give a damn when you pull them up? So you're going to get trouble from them because they don't care.
Okay, I think it's the way you approach.
I think that might happen. I'm not a blue badge holder, but I don't park in the blue badge place, and I don't park in the mother and baby place. There's signs that say that is for them Pacific people. And again, I think, why don't we have respect? Just don't park in them places.
But
exactly.
Valerie, you are right. But when people have done that, they're like, for example, they know they're doing something wrong. But when you pull them up on it, what kind of reaction do you expect from them? Yes, of course, but nobody here has not like bent or twisted, like gone through a red light or something like this, or done something that they know is wrong. Then what happens is that they don't want to be caught, and when you pull them up on it, they're going to react with one or two, fight, flight, or the response. The fight-flight response kicks in, and then you're like, oh, they're the bad guy because they lost the cool. It's just about, like, they know they've done it wrong. It's about if you can politely go up to them and say, look, mate, I think this is wrong. But if you go up to them just with a slight different tone, it's not what you say, it's the tonation of your voice, all right? And people can become very confrontational very quickly. So they know they've done wrong. Now they've got a fight or flight response. So if you know that's going to happen, and what is the objective, and especially if you're a content creator, you actually would prefer it if they kick off. Then you've got moral high ground. Then you can plaster them all over the internet, but you wouldn't like if you were being plastered over the internet, because the person that's holding the camera is always the innocent one, isn't it? Everybody else, you're passing judgment on other people. But then when somebody does it to you, then you don't like it.
Listen,
Shaz,
I've been
I
plastered over
don't
the.
know. I think you should name and shame people that
Yes,
do things
absolutely.
they
Yeah,
should do.
can everyone hear
I'd
me?
like people that
Right,
dump
can we get off this
rubbish.
blue badge? Because I had something important to say, and now
Okay,
we've
but
way
you know,
past it.
Brighton, this is not your platform. This is my platform, and you know, obviously, Don Michael has brought a very important point up here about respecting other people even when they're in the wrong. You can't just pass judgment on people. That's the point I'm trying to say. And I've got a new panel member. I would like to hear from them before we come back to you, Brighton. I've given you enough.
Judges
Brighton,
do it every day. Judges pass judgment on you every day for crimes.
I
What's the
know
matter with you?
judges do, but
That's right, quick, right. When I've filmed people abusing the blue badge, and you get some drivers to say, "I'll come up to them." Sorry about the way I speak to them. I can't change how I speak to a person, right? And I've gone up to them and said, "You're meant to have a blue badge, and where's your blue badge? Because you're not having it on display." Some of them say, "I'm very sorry, I don't have it," and they drive off, and they've seen me filming them with camera, and I do not put them on YouTube or any social media. But it's them what starts attacking me, right? And that's when I will totally shame them.
Exactly.
But you're escalating a situation that didn't need to. I mean, you said Bradford. I'm from Bradford. I know the people here. You know, you're going to get slapped face, mate. You're just going to get punched. All right. And then you're crying.
What is the difference from if they apologise?
Can I just tell people
or
something,
they
yeah?
go aggravating? Either way, they shouldn't be in that park place.
But I
Can I just
accept
tell people something? Shazad parks in disabled bays all the time, by the way, and they don't have a badge.
Wait,
Can I add something?
So hold on a second. He just attacked me there. Now, what so you're being a little cheeky bugger there, aren't you? All right. So he's telling a lie, all right, and he knows it's a lie. And I'm telling you this Brighton guy. I know who he is, and he's an architect of chaos, aren't you, Aren't you, Brighton? I just want to move on to Curtis.
Let me ask you a question seriously, right?
No serious questions. I want to speak to Curtis. I've given you enough of platform here. I just want to speak to Curtis because there's other people here. This is not the Brighton show.
Yeah,
Right, so
well, we want to move back to what we were talking about, photography in public places.
All right, we are gonna, but there's other people that want to have an input in this. So I want to speak to Curtis. Hello, Curtis. This is the first time I'm speaking to you on my live. What would you like to talk? What would you like to discuss?
So regarding the blue badge thing, obviously the other day, I don't use mine all the time. I only use it when I'm having a bad day anxiety-wise and I need to park near to where I'm going. And parked up, got my badge on display, got out. Somebody approached me, already recording, saying, why am I parking in a disabled bay using my grandma's or my granddad's badge? I then had to get my badge out of its display and turn it over and prove that that badge was mine and that I have a hidden disability, which is my anxiety. So this person approached me, hostile already. So there was the first thing. Second thing was already recording me.
Yes.
And then the third thing asked me to prove that that badge was mine.
Yes.
And that happens quite often.
Yes, and that in itself, you see, that could have been done, Michael. All right, and you would have that in itself is like, you need to show me what, like prove something to me. All right, and that person probably, it's like, can you understand? It's a very I think this blue badge thing is a very good understanding of how situations can become very hostile. But let me ask you another question, Curtis. Like, obviously, I know you felt kind of threatened and intimidated by that kind of interaction and having to prove yourself. But what could that individual have done better? Because obviously that individual could have been Don Michael, who is obviously a blue badge user, much like yourself, and does not want able-bodied people. So can you tell me how, in your mind, could that interaction have gone better, where you did not feel such like hostile in a hostile exchange?
Maybe when I got out the car, approaching me without the camera already being up, and saying, "Is that blue badge? Does that blue badge belong to you? Are you supposed to be parking there because I am disabled myself?" If they'd have said that, I'd have been like, "Yeah, here we go." But They got the hostile response that they gave me, which
And
was
just can I just underline this, Curtis? The hostile response started when they started already presuming you're in the wrong and started
Yes.
filming you from the start of it. So that's where the hostile interchange took place. Now,
Yeah.
so if they didn't treat, they basically condemned you. As soon as they saw you as an able-bodied person, not realizing that a blue badge does not necessarily require a physical disability, but it can also be, like a mental ailment, they
Yeah.
passed judgment. They came with you with a camera and then asked you to prove yourself. And remember, this is not somebody who is legally authorized, like a car park attendant or something like this, or
Exactly.
somebody who owns the land. It's just another member of the public. All right. And so no one member of the public can have authority over another like this without getting some consequences. I'm thank you, Curtis, for coming up and helping me make that point, because the threatening aspect happened because somebody previously passed judgment upon you soon as they saw you. And this is the element that I think I'm trying to highlight in my live today. We're passing judgment on people before we know the full facts of the situation. And then we're always surprised at the blowback. Can you understand? Like, and that's the point that I'm trying to kind of highlight. Thank you, Curtis. Is there anything else you want to discuss?
No, that's all. Thank you. I'm going to jump back down, but thank you for letting me up.
No. I thank you for making that point. So the hostile interchange happens when the actually you start recording people, and I think this is when we're coming back to this aspect of photography. Many people, thank you, Curtis. Many people view it as an invasion, whether the law is there or not. Is perceived as a hostile interaction. All right, it's simply recording somebody. So if you know that this is a hostile interaction, then the first thing is your responsibility to not treat that person in a hostile interchange. Say, look, mate, I'm recording things. I hope you don't mind. It's nothing personal. Like, it's just being mature about a situation like that, because you know the general public don't want to have a camera stuck in their face. Now you've just heard the statement from Curtis, who is a legitimate disabled user, but he doesn't look like it. But he should not be then passed judgment on. Nobody likes to be judged by somebody else. Why does anybody else have a right to judge you? Now, why does Michael or Brighton here have a right to judge you because you're holding a disabled badge and you think you have certain privileges, which is like it can be easily abused, that authority. I hope that makes sense. Brighton, I'm going to bring you back in now.
Right. Can we go back to what you were saying earlier, which was what the live's supposed to be about?
No, it's all connected, mate. It's all connected.
So you were saying earlier, just wanted to do a recap first. You were saying earlier about this, a certain type of person is deemed a peddler because they're taking pictures in public, either parks or supermarkets or shopping centres, whatever.
That's a judgment, isn't it? And that's a judgment as well. So somebody's already passing a judgment on that person without the evidence. So it's this aspect of passing judgment. You've just heard Curtis say that somebody's passed judgment on him, and this is when
I want to come back to that, yeah?
Okay.
Because two things I want to say about that is, and I've said this before, many of you have heard me saying it, you're wearing that name out so much, yeah?
Yes.
That the real, eventually it'll be like the C word, and we all say it every single day now. But 20 years ago, it was frowned upon. In 20 years' time, you're using it so much and wearing it out that when you call it to people, it'll just be another slur and nobody will give a damn about it. And that what's going to happen is that these real perpetrators of S offences are going to walk amongst you. Yeah. And your children will then be in danger because, he's a XYZ, he's a PDO. Nobody's going to take any notice of you anymore, right?
I think that's a very valid point there, because the more you and I've had personal experience of this that I wanted to discuss with you regarding my own personal circumstances. But
personal stories.
No. No, we can speak. I can speak personal stories. I don't want Mary and Joseph to speak personal stories.
Oh, shut up. Just get on with it.
All right, go on. You tell me what you want to say then. I will tell you my story.
No, you go talk about that. You wanted to say something about that bit.
No, because what you're trying to say is that certain words are like, we have to have certain danger words. And when you overuse those danger words, they lose any veracity and validity or potency. So then you have to invent new words. All right. that, and I personally think that this is the reality. I'm going to give you an example of what happened to me personally. So this is a personal story, and I think it's very relevant to the people that are here that know my background story about a particular individual. The first apex troll I met on this app was somebody called Pure Islam. And I didn't know who she was, and I'm sure many people here are familiar with this one individual from Scotland. All right, and what actually happened was that this particular individual, being an apex troll, started to target me with a group of other individuals to a point where I think this individual, Pure Islam, was actually not my friend, but my friend here, Valerie's friend. And this particular incident occurred in January, where a group of them attacked me, in a gang, were threatening and bullying and intimidating me to a point where Valerie here was so shocked and dismayed that she obviously contacted me and tried to give me some reassurances and like tried to say that, she was shocked at this person's bullying conduct. They hadn't seen that side of that. But what then subsequently happened was that I was being attacked from everybody. And for myself, I'm a very I can be a confrontational individual. You pick up on me, like Stell says, you throw a glass of water on me, I'm coming with you with a bucket or more, then don't complain. So what I did was I took a step back, and this person was targeting me quite voracious, with a group of other individuals. And so then I thought, well, how can I get them to stop? All right, because I don't want to be subjected to this. And then they started to use that word, the PDF, or he's a wrong and he's a PDF and this, that, and the other. And I thought, but my crimes are open in public display. So then what happened is that I made an image. I just wanted them to stop. And I thought, if I'm telling them, please stop. All right, you're harassing me, you're targeting me, you're bullying me. And they were just not listening. They're all laughing, in a gang. They were all laughing to me. So I said, okay, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to find out every single one of these people, and I'm going to deal with you individually. So when it came to someone like this Pure Islam, I simply created an image of a random baby. It's a black baby. You can see it on my image on there. And then she started to say, he's taking images of my granddaughter or grandchild and putting him on the dark web and making all these other fantasies, like just Brighton has just stated here that the host here is parking in disabled without a badge. Just lies. And so what you have to do then is you have to try to defend those lies. And the reality is that, you could say, I can hear probably Valerie saying, well, you should be a bigger man and not allow the bullies to intimidate you. But if somebody insults me, there's some background noise, Brighton, yeah, sorry. So if somebody insults me, I'm a bigger man, but I'm just thinking to myself, if I'm with my girlfriend or wife or child and somebody insults them, then if I don't react, then I'm considered like not a man. So can you understand that if somebody insults you with lies, just like Brighton did earlier on by saying that I park in disabled bays, that's just a lie and he knows it. But then if he continues that lie, I then have to react. And so under these circumstances, I reacted and I thought, they're not going to listen to me. And then I had to do a deep dive. So I'm telling you now, I did not know Naomi Adcock, Pure Islam's anything. I didn't even know her name. But then I was forced to find out what her name is, find out her Facebook page, find out her daughter's Facebook page, and then I found a picture of a son, her grandson. All right, and then I utilized that to simply say, stop. All right, and now many of the people this is one of the reasons that I'm here today. That many of those people have condemned me, but if this individual Joseph, all right, that I'm naming, I think everybody knows who I'm referring to. If he had a child, would they not do the same thing? That use, and I don't think I've done anything seriously wrong. I was being targeted and bullied and victimized. But then they say, oh no, you crossed a line because it was a child and that child's innocent. But you were the guardian. And where's your responsibility? You're coming on TikTok, you're trolling people, and then you're not expecting any backlash. And then you're like, oh, but I'm a woman though. But you're not a woman when you were trolling me. But I'm innocent though, and my child's innocent. Or this is where we get into this gray area of where you can do moral pondering on others, but then when it comes to yourself, you always claim to be the victim, and this is where the double standard comes in. So I just wanted to give that backstory where people then. And the meaning of the story is that if you go looking for monsters, you will often find them. And if you go looking for everybody's a PDF, You're making people into PDFs then. There has to be a sense of responsibility. There is a certain principle here that we must assume the other person to be innocent of any wrongdoing unless it can be demonstrated otherwise. But because there's some what I'm terming PDF phobia, we're just labeling everybody. And what gets me is that people like Michael, I mean, this is not a picture of Michael, this is a picture of Al Pacino. But Michael is somebody, when you look at them, or even like I would say this Joseph fella, when you look at them, they look a bit dodgy, right? They look a bit shifty. But what exactly does a PDF look like? We have these assertions, or he's taken a photograph of my child, so therefore he must be a PDF. And this word gets plastered everywhere. And then and it's mostly directed at men. So when men, what they're going to react with, if I don't have a child, I don't think that's what I've done is crossing the limit, but another person may actually do something else. So can you understand it? It's a responsibility on both parties not to pass judgment on other people just because of superficiality, and not spread lies because they'll say these consequences to you. So this individual that
That's what I was trying to say. The serious consequences of calling people a PDF when you know it's not true.
Yes.
Right? Now, the second part I wanted to make, yeah, and this is facts, and you can check these facts if anybody wants to disagree, yeah? While we're all calling a specific demographic man or men, a PDF, right? Let's look at the true story of it, yeah? Most abuse happens in the home. That's number one. And number two, I actually did a bit of research today, and I was looking up the Lucy Fairfield Foundation, right? And Home Office statistics, right? And I am going to put this out there, and this is going to horrify some of the audience. It is a fact, yeah, that 20% of women are abusers, yeah, but only 1.8% of them abusers that are caught or questioned are ever convicted, right? These are statistics from the Home Office and from the Lucy Fairfield Foundation.
Okay, just 1 second, please. 1 second, Brighton, 1 second. Don Michael, you're my fact checker. I don't like people throwing facts around. Can you
he can go and check. He can go and check.
Don Michael, can you do that for me? Don? I think Don's gone asleep.
Yeah.
Well, anybody can check if they want to. Go and look at the Lucy Fairfield Foundation and check the facts there. It's all there. I've done a lot of research this morning.
Okay.
However, in the Home Office, now the Home Office declined to put a number on the amount. They basically used the Lucy Fairfield Foundation as a base for their statistics, which was very clear in the paper that I read. However, they said, the Home Office, this is, right? Can I just say something a second and 1 second?
Can I just drop you, Brighton? Because obviously...
No, that's 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
Because there is Justice that wanted to ask a question. Just right. if you could just be patient, I will get you...
No, this needs to be said. This needs to be said. It's part of it. Yeah. However, it said a substantial amount of females, right, emotionally and mentally abuse children, much more than men, and that's from the Home Office, by the way. Right?
Can we do a fact check?
Offences against children.
Okay. Can we do a fact check?
Astronomical.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, while you're all running about pointing the fingers at innocent people, yeah, you should be looking at your own people and saying, what is going on here? You should be looking in your homes and saying, what is going on here? Not pointing the fingers at innocent people.
Okay. Brighton, can I just drop you? Because I would like to get Justice up. Yeah, okay. Is that okay? I'm just going to drop you, mate. Thank you. And so if I can get Justice up, because I think she's been asking, Justice, I'm sorry, but I don't read the comments. I'm slightly dyslexic and I don't read comments. So sorry about that.
I don't know where this discussion was steering to. Are we talking about John and Rose West? Are we talking about the Moors? Are we talking about Myra Hindley? What?
Well, no, this is about photography.
Because that's what it was turning into. The back screen. Okay, I'm just going to come back to my question anyway. Let's steer it back to what the back screen says, okay? When you were talking about how people just use the word PDF and stuff like that about taking pictures and things like that, what would you say is the right terminology, and how would you warn somebody that of somebody that takes pictures of, say, children and people for malice intent? What would you terminally or politically correctly call that person? That's
I
my only
think
question, and I'll drop now.
no, don't drop. I want to have a discussion with you rather than asking a question and hit and run. So the question is
Sorry,
that,
but that's all I wanted to know, and I asked
no,
it
no, it's
ages
okay.
ago, and it was
Okay, well,
directed at your screen.
okay, well, let's have this conversation. So your question is that, what do you call somebody who's, maliciously? Can you do a silent, please? I can hear some background noise. Just 1 second. So, what terminology would you want to use to somebody who's, maliciously taking images of somebody? I would say that word is a pervert or a peeping tom or somebody like that, isn't it?
Well, doesn't that still come specify near enough of the same aspects of it?
Yes, but the thing is, you've just mentioned that malicious intent. How did you establish malicious intent?
Because if it's for
Sim-
malicious intent and it's going to be used
No,
for
no, no.
malicious purposes,
How do you know?
i.e., things like,
How do you know?
like revenge purposes.
Yes, but how do you know? So you give me an example of some guy, like for example, Don Michael could be in the park, all right, and he's taking a photograph, and where do you get from
Okay,
that?
it's trying to meet people under false pretenses in order to obtain things that you wouldn't normally obtain under normal circumstances if you were doing it under proper circumstances rather than malice circumstances. It's about motive and perception
Yes,
and why you do things. That's
yes,
why what it's about and what the circumstances were beforehand to lead to the circumstances to obtain the things that you obtained in order to use it for the purposes you used it for.
well, I understand. I understand the context that you're saying that maybe other people don't. But the question here is that there's quite a varied thing there. I mean, we started off with the question that what do you call somebody who's acting with malicious intention? All right. Well, what we
Yeah, and
call
how would
that.
you warn people about that? How would you warn children and people about that? How would you say when you have these conversations with your children and you're saying, talking about stranger danger and all this kind of
Yes.
stuff? How do you explain that, say, to a young person, say, these are the type of people you need to be
Yes.
safe from?
Well, just I think this is a very healthy conversation. I would ask you because it's really irritating. Because I
Sorry,
can
I've
hear
got something cooking in the background.
no, it's just the echoing that's kind of irritating. Well, this is aspect. I'm going to explain to you. I don't have any children. I'm not a parent, so I'm not the best person to advise about this. But I think it's all about educating your children and ensuring that they are the ones that are gonna, if they're gonna be approached. Like for example, I've seen loads of experiments where somebody comes in and says, "Oh, little girl, would you like to see my puppies?" And the child saying, "Oh yeah, I'm really interested," and will walk off with that child, that stranger. So these are the conversations that maybe need to take place with the child. That if you're in a public place and you're feeling uncomfortable because somebody's taking pictures, then you tell mummy and daddy about it. And then when mummy and daddy get this, rather than passing judgment, because the first thing you assume is that my child's come up to me, this guy is a pervert, this guy is a wrong un. It's that judgment what Curtis was saying, which maybe when you come up to them with that attitude of, excuse me mate, what do you think you're doing there taking photographs of my child? That's a confrontational interaction, isn't it? Maybe take a different approach and say, look, I'm sorry, I'm respectfully, I'm asking, my child is feeling a bit alarmed and threatened. Can I ask? It's about the approach that you take. But what happens is that the problem, as far as I can see, is the moment when you're passing aspersions and judgment on others that person like is a wrong un or is evil. Why can you make that assumption? And I've stated this many times to other people. If you're looking for an evil, nasty devil in someone, it's within all of us. But if you're also looking for an angel or God, it's also within all of us. And when you look at other people and say, no, that person's a devil, then you're effectively saying that I must be the angel then. And that is a misconception and a lie. Because if you approach people with dignity and respect and not pass judgment on them, because you heard Curtis come in here and say, look, I felt that people were passing judgments upon me because I don't look disabled. And therefore, this is what I think is an important aspect. We can't change other people's, but we can at least change ourselves and say, well, look, that person objectively, as far as I'm concerned, looks dodgy. But let's not pass assertions that he could have a disability. He could be like, have physical impairments, mental impairments. All right. And it's easy to pass judgment on others because, we do it all the time. We want to point the finger outwards, but having that index finger pointed back at us is very difficult. And I think that's the takeaway message that I'm trying to get across, Justice, is that why you just started here, how you've already assumed, you've already condemned him in your heart. You've already condemned him in your mind, and then you're saying, well, how do we make other people aware of him? All right. Why did you not start with like this?
No, I didn't say him at all. I said of somebody that's like that. What would you use, or what would you call somebody like that? I didn't say him or her or anything. I said what specific terminology is someone like that?
Okay, what I would do is I would try to monitor my emotional reactions, and I would just call them a person. That's it. Because I have no idea who they are, what their motives are they?
No, I was saying if they were using it for malice purposes, what would you then call that person? That's what my question was.
Well, if somebody is acting with malicious intention, then they're a criminal, or acting. If somebody's acting with malice, how can they be a good person?
I just wanted to know what the terminology was when you're actually talking about a person like that, rather than saying, "Oh, this person did this and that." What would you formally call that person? That's all I wanted to know.
That somebody's acting with a malicious intention, I would say, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the comment.
See, it's a bit of a weird one, isn't it?
No. If somebody's acting with malicious intention, you would say that the devil himself.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, you're the devil himself, because otherwise we've got a God complex now. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, all right. Well, the thing is, I think it starts by passing judgment on others. We're easy to judge others because of the way they look, because of the way they act, maybe the way they behave, and and sometimes our instincts are right, because sometimes you don't know people and you have an eerie feeling about them. You got to think, oh, that guy has, something's not right about him. But then you have to be like, if you're passing judgment on others, then why are you surprised when they equally pass judgment upon you? All right. Because
I hear what you're saying. Complete valid argument. I completely hear what you're saying. I was just a bit confused in, like, when you're saying you can't call some people like this and that. I was just a bit like confused as to, okay, what would you formally use for somebody like that? Like, I wanted just to get it out there, the correct terminology.
The reality is that I'm just some guy, you're some person on TikTok. I don't think I think there may be a terminology, but the important aspect is that
just so then we don't get it wrong again. If we can have a talk about the correct terminology for what you call these people, then nobody can get it wrong again.
Okay, well, I tell you what, Justice, I don't know what terminology you would use, but you would definitely not call them PDFs, and you would definitely not call them wrong-uns, or you would definitely not call them perpetrators or anything like this, because you've already condemned them.
Okay, can I ask you another question then? Say if they see their actions in video form, and then by seeing them actions they condemn themselves as that word, and it was only a video that showed them that, then what?
Oh, sorry, you've just confused me. I think JazzX is asking about...
No, I was, hang on a minute. Like Blockheads has put a video up now of just making a joke of somebody like taking pictures in a park and and the implications of that. Okay, so see that video there, the implications of that video and how that could be interpreted. What if the interpretation of the video is the only part of that is the aspect of why that person called themselves that in the first place, because they saw their own interpretation on a video? How about that?
Justice, with respect to yourself, I'm kind of losing the thread of what you're saying. You're saying if somebody...
Say if you saw yourself doing something, say if you were a bad person, but you saw yourself in cartoon form acting that out, and then you instantly turned around and said, oh, they're calling me that, but no one actually said anything. It was in a cartoon form. What then when you're calling yourself that because you saw it in a cartoon?
But that's how somebody perceives or interprets reality.
Exactly. That's just, I wanted you to explain that part there, because no one said that word. It was the person that interpreted it for them to say it. That's all.
Okay, well,
I'm going to drop now anyway, because it's really late and I want to chill.
Thank you very much, Justice, for...
all right, thank you for letting me up and having the question, and I do understand your point of view, all right?
Thank you very much, Mr. Thank you.
Right, bye.
Bye. I'm just going to accept.
That information, what you wanted.
Yes?
I'll play it. I'll play it. Gemini.
Okay, play it, please.
I'm playing it now.
You are referring to the Lucy Faithfull Foundation, a major
Louder, please.
preventing child sexual abuse and exploitation. Here is a summary of the foundation and its work. Mission. Lucy Faithfull Foundation's mission is to prevent child sexual abuse and exploitation before it happens. They achieve this by working with those who pose a risk and diverting them from causing harm, supporting individuals and families who have been affected by abuse, helping professionals create safer environments for children. Key services and programs. The charity provides a range of services aimed at prevention, support, and education. Stop it now. Helpline 0808 1900. A free confidential helpline that offers support and advice to anyone worried about child sexual abuse, whether it's their own thoughts/behavior or that of someone they know. Sure website. A safe, anonymous space online for teenagers who are worried about their own or a friend's sexual thoughts or behavior. Specialist programs. They run
You know what? It's Don Michael, I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you there because I might get like a warning or a TikTok thing. So I encourage everybody to, do their own research on this aspect. But I want to bring this. I mean, we're coming to about 11:10, and ideally I wanted to finish at 11. But I'm happy to stay.
Shazad, I want to ask you something. You said no personal stories or circumstances. Why did you let Justice up here to sit there and discuss a personal situation?
She was discussing something abstract. Who was she discussing about?
She wasn't. No, she wasn't. She was discussing a current situation.
Look,
so I'm going to answer it, right? I'm going to answer it.
No, just 1 second, Brighton. I didn't even understand what she was saying, to tell you the truth. It was all kind of like, what? She asked me the question, what do you call that person?
I know, it's ridiculous. Absolutely.
And then she asked me the question, what? Like, if somebody watches a cartoon and calls themselves that, I think she was trying to get at something. But Brighton, please, with the respect, can we not?
She was trying to get at something, and she was trying to wind me up.
Brighton,
again.
Brighton. Let's just move on. This this is not the platform or forum for that.
I'm going to explain that. There is no name for a person. You suspect somebody of being something. That doesn't mean that you've got the right to go around calling them that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Just because you've got a suspicion of it. Yeah.
Yes.
If you've got a problem with something, you think they may have that type of intentions of harming a child, go to the authorities in the first place.
Okay.
Yeah?
Look,
don't bring it on TikTok. Don't bring it on TikTok and sit there discussing it.
I'm going to drop
you.
Wait,
let me finish.
No, I'm going to drop you. No, I'm going to drop you, mate. And the reason I'm dropping you is because I know that tone of your voice. You're getting like slightly irate. I will have you back, Brighton, but I just need you to take a chill pill for a second, because obviously we want to move on to this topic of what an individual justice may have said or not said, or any kind of things outside of this platform. We want to focus it back on legal rights of photography, and yet nobody's made a very strong argument against photographers. And what I want to focus in on is the rights of parents, like not legal rights, but their own feelings that they're trying to do their job to protect their child from perverts, and also this aspect of being hounded by paparazzi, which I think is a very important subject. So I would like to move off this and onto this area.
I think, Shaz.
Yep.
Right. When you get parents taking photographs of their children, right, or family and children's there, I've got no issues with that. But when they put their children on social media, I don't mean in the private box where only families and close friends can see them, but they put it open where everybody can see them, the children. I've got issues with that, because then they start complaining, people's taking the photo or snapshot of my child and stuff. Then why did you put it on social media for, if you know that's going to happen?
But the thing is, this is where we have the rights of people to be innocent. Children have a right to be assumed innocent as well and be innocent. Michael and I'm just going to tell you that I'm from Bradford. Michael is originally from near here. He's moved to Italy now. One of the issues that both me and Michael share is that in the center of Bradford, what we call it the PDF pond, and there are children there that are frolicking, unaddressed, naked, all right, in the center. And I have an issue with that because I think, you know, children shouldn't do that. But can you understand? We're now projecting our fears onto the child, and the child should be like, it's a very, you know, it's a very gray area. There's no right or wrong answers for it. But can you understand, if parents intrinsically have fear then of you know, these PDF, I'm going to call it PDF phobia, then that fear, just like racism and other prejudices, gets deflected onto the child. It takes away their developmental or ability to grow like in a safe environment. If they're basically told everybody out there is going to potentially be this PDF, it's just you're inducing a child into a state of fear from the parent, and it's a mania that can be, and it's not very good for the child's development. Yes, that we do have a problem in society. I think from speaking to some of my friends that this is a growing problem with the proliferation of PDFs in society, and I think that's a wider question of breakdown in families and you know, not having a nuclear family. But coming back to this issue, I think a child should have a right to grow up in an environment knowing the fact that not everybody's a demon out there. But this idea of having a phobia, like I grew up in the 80s, and you know, that was the best childhood I could have. I didn't fear adults, but this idea of, you know, like, I can see it can backfire on the child's development as a, you know, not trusting people and, you know, having this fear as well. So I just wanted to chime in with that.
Well,
Is there anything?
Can I chime in yet?
We have always had fear, though.
Yeah.
You were always told, back in the day, we did go out and play, and your parents weren't there, your older siblings looked after the younger ones, but you went in a group, or you might have been playing in the street, and your neighbour's parents might have been watching you, or, you know, everybody looked out for each other.
Yep.
There were adverts when the TV came out about stranger danger, about getting in people's cars, about sweets. We don't really know. Maybe the kids need some, well, I think the kids do get some education on stranger danger on the internet. I hope they do anyway. I don't know.
You know, sorry, Valerie, I just want to chime in before we hand it back to that. There's a good follower of mine, her name's JazX, and she's just put a comment in there that I find very heartbreaking. And she's a young woman who's one of my followers, just like Valerie's, and she just put the word, "but you can't trust people." And I think that is really heartbreaking for me to read that, because the thing is, this is somebody who's in a generation. I think they call it generation millennials and stuff, yeah. And so they're growing up not trusting people, and when you're not trusting people, it places, you know, I don't think that's a very healthy attitude to have, not to trust other people. But yes, there should be like safeguards in place, but if you're always fearing the other person, you're already judging the other person in the negative. So can you understand this attitude that like, you can't trust people? I've told you previously that there's a demon inside of everybody. So you're already focusing in on the other person's demon. Sorry.
Right. I'd like to say something to you, yeah? I wouldn't get so irritated if you didn't keep talking over me when I'm trying to make a good point, and that's why you're saying, oh, I need to take a breath. It would be nice if I actually got to finish a sentence over, you know? It'd be really nice, you know?
I apologize.
So what I was trying to say earlier was, right, that if you, to answer that question, if you thought somebody was a wrong'un, or you thought there might be a suspicion that there's a wrong'un, what I was trying to say is go to the authorities about it. Don't sit on TikTok talking with a bunch of housewives and playing armchair detective. Or better still, don't take your kids to that person. How about that? Because there's a legal and a moral duty as a parent is to protect your children. How about that as an answer?
Okay. You've had your answer, but can you understand the tone that you're using can come across as
because I didn't get to speak.
Okay, all right. But can you understand? You can only regulate your own emotions, and we've said this before. And Valerie said this the last time, that you know when you're on a level right, it's okay, but you regulate your own emotions, and and this is one of the problems that you have, Stell, is that when you become emotionally invested in something like you just have done, your tone and intonation changes, and it becomes very hostile, and then the other people react in a hostile manner. And this is one of the reasons that I've dropped you, because only you can regulate your own emotions, can't you? And it
I was
comes
being
across.
hostile because you were talking over me.
Yeah, but Stell, do you remember our first encounter?
Listen, I remember every phone call you make to me, your
You
dirty sex
recorded,
talk.
you
He talks to
recorded.
me in a dirty sex talk, you know. He phones me up for sex talk, you know. Don't deny
Shush,
that now.
shush,
That's not a
shush,
lie.
shush. Okay, that's private stuff. Can you not talk about that on a public platform? All right. But the first time you met me, I said something out of a mistake, and you
Yes.
held it against me. And this is the same attitude that you have. You become irate, emotional, and then you hold it against people. And then all I'm asking you here to do is not pass judgment on other people. Can you not try to find the angel inside of other people?
Yeah,
Like I'm.
Shazad, follow your own advice. Do you want me to tell everybody about that text message you sent me this afternoon, you little shit?
Okay, okay. Go
Yeah,
and
keep
tell
quiet
people.
now. Keep
No,
quiet or
tell
I'll
people.
expose you.
No, expose me, please do. Send a text message because everybody knows my sense of humor is warped. Go and tell everybody.
Shut up, or I will.
No, come on, tell everybody. It takes me a great deal of effort to put forward messages like that. Go and tell everybody what I've
I
been saying.
can't say it on here, I'll get banned.
What, don't use the banned words. And what did I say?
Fucking hell, every second word was a banned word. You know what you wrote, you little shit?
Yeah, well, just tell everybody then, isn't it?
He body shamed me, basically. After telling me how much...
No,
After
you have
telling
to.
me how much he wanted it, yeah?
Okay, all right.
Yeah? He wants to rub my jelly belly. Remember that one? Yeah.
You know what is? It's past 23, 21. So I don't mind getting banned. I would like you to read all my lovely text messages to you. Go on, read them.
No, I'm not getting banned, sorry.
No, so don't tease people with lies, you half-baked lies. Tell everybody
I'll
exactly
post it up in a video, don't you worry about it.
Okay. Tell
And
everybody.
on your sex talk and everything else you say to me in the privacy of our phone calls. I'll dox the lot, I'm telling you.
Do it, mate. Do it. Okay, do it. So don't try to threaten me with like half-baked ideas. Love is love, isn't it? All right. And I'm trying to
And
find.
Shazad is in love with me, everybody.
No. I'm
He's
in love
telling
with
his
myself.
attentions from Michelle to me. I swear to God.
I swear to God. I like to keep my options open.
That's shocking behaviour.
Shocking behavior. I've once again had it reaffirmed from Vimto, all right, that offer of dogging by her and Mark is still on the table, mate. So I like to keep all my options open.
Should be a good experience for you.
Yeah, good experience. Anyway, look, you've just distracted this conversation, all right? We're about 11:30, all right? And I just want to move on from this to something else.
Well, hurry up then and stop talking.
Okay, can we move on to the aspect of the privacy at home, where in the garden with drones and stuff? Because this is another reality, isn't it? The drones, like being photographed in one context on CCTV, but what about when people? If I have a drone, I can fly outside your garden and record it. How is that an invasion of your privacy?
So if I was lying semi-nude in my back garden sunbathing and you flew a drone over there, that would come under the Voyeurism Act.
No, but is there not a famous picture of a Lady Diana being topless, and
Yes.
Was that prosecuted?
No, because I think that was taken on a boat, if I remember rightly, which was in international waters at the time.
Okay. Fair enough.
Funny you should mention that, actually, because I can tell you there's actually a law in France where you have the right to privacy in a public place in France.
Well,
so in
interesting.
France, you can actually go up to somebody and say, I do not wish you to take my picture. And it's a criminal offence once they've told you that.
And I've looked into this, and I think many states in America have the same thing, same laws about recording people, covert recordings. Or I think the law in the UK is one where one party needs to be made aware that they're being recorded. Right? I think a single party rule or something. Whereas in the States, there are certain states that say that no, you need both parties.
You're confusing two things there, right? That's for covert recording. I'm talking about if you're out in the street, yeah, and you're taking a picture. Say you're taking a picture of me after our honeymoon, yeah, and Mrs. Piggy gets in the background. She can say to you, "Can you wait till I move, please?" You know,
Yep. Yep.
and she has the right to do that, to ask you to not take the picture while she's there.
Okay,
That's
so that's a
good.
law in France,
That's
isn't it?
good.
Yeah,
Showing courtesy.
Yep. But that's
yeah, it's an
backed
actual
by
law.
law. So
Yeah, it's a
why
law
can't
in
we?
France.
So why can't we have a similar law in this country?
Why?
Law, why can we not just show each other that courtesy?
Because the
I,
problem is, Valerie, that there are people that are narcissistic trolls, as you know, like Michelle Matthews. So what are we supposed to do with those individuals that simply don't have a respect for other people and are probably dealing with some sort of psychological issues? You know, there are people that have Tourette syndrome that they can't help but shout out certain words and phraseologies. Should we condemn them?
Oh no, and we understand that's a disability, and you know we
Yeah.
do understand that.
Valerie, I'm
But
sorry. I'm just sorry to just chime in there, because you understand the whole focus changes with understanding. If you do not know that there is such a mental condition called Tourette syndrome, that individual, without the public's knowledge of it, would condemn and curse, or that person could be physically assaulted. Maybe that was the case in the past. But now that we have an understanding that, oh, actually they can't help it, there's no malice behind it, it is a medical condition, then we come across as kind of cruel, don't we? Because we're judging that person based on what he's saying, but not recognizing there's an underlying condition. And so similarly, this is what I'm trying to get across here, that simply with understanding we gain a level of appreciation and empathy for the other person. And that's the purpose of this life, not to condemn people, but not to equally pass judgment on them and trying to say, well, look, whatever that person's doing, maybe that is them trying to cope with the horrible things that have happened to them in their life, and showing that compassion and empathy. But the problem remains, Valerie, if you're that kind, compassionate person, and I come along and I'm not that kind, compassionate person, and I spit on you, all right, or I show you some contempt, it's very difficult. It takes a big person to show the other cheek, as the Christians say. You often naturally respond with like a response equal to that or more. It's very
yeah,
difficult.
I would find that very disgusting if somebody spat on me. I would find it very degrading.
But could you show the other cheek, or do what the
I would
Christians
try,
say?
but I don't know if some words that I would regret would not come
Yes,
out of my mouth.
because we're all human, isn't it? When somebody attacks you verbally, physically, or anything like this, we want to defend ourselves and we react. And and the problem there is that we all want to like come to a rule here. Like I understand this group outside of my life here are trying to come to a consensus that maybe we shouldn't use the words PDF and perpetrator and wrong'uns. Maybe that is the cause of the problem, and that is right. But you can't have a consensus, can you? When somebody says, I don't agree with those rules, I'm just going to call whatever I want to. I'm going to do whatever I want to do. I'm going to call people these things, and they don't see in the short term they don't see the consequences, but in the long term there are consequences when you go around treating people or judging people or treating people with disdain and contempt. It all comes back to haunt you, doesn't it? Karma's a whatever bitch, and she comes back to bite you in the ass.
absolutely. And when it comes back to bite you in the arse and you don't like it, that's what's called karma.
Yeah, but Brighton, I know your personal circumstances, and it's like pot kettle black. You understand? There's a look, let's not go into your personal
Dad,
situation.
do you remember we've had talks about my profile with my grandchildren on it?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
and privacy.
yeah,
And I said to you, I don't think people would do that to me because I don't do horrible things
yes,
to them.
yes.
So I don't
So,
know.
so
What
this
is
is
everybody else's thoughts on it?
Valerie, this is one of the reasons I have a great deal of respect and admiration for you, because when you look at the world, you're looking to find goodness in others. And other people, in my personal experiences, never let you down. If you go looking for goodness in others, people will expect reciprocate and meet you there and show goodness and kindness. But if you go to looking for people with badness, then you're going to be reciprocated, and then you're shocked and surprised. One of the rules I have in my life is no vulgarities and profanities. Now, the reason for that is that if I was, Valerie, to say to you, and if I was to use a vulgarity or profanity, all I'm really doing is giving you a license to do that back to me. But then when you do it back to me, and I'll say, look, why did you say that to me? Like if I call you the B word or something. If I constantly call you the B word,
So Shazad, is it okay if I go into your pockets and take the money out of your pockets and keep it for myself?
well, that's a different topic, isn't it? What are you
Because
talking
that's what you did to the public purse, isn't it? So you're saying that we should be good to each other, but you weren't very good to us, were you now? 400.
Have you really looked at all of?
Just one second, just one second, Valerie. Obviously, this is now. You see, this is exactly what you're doing here. I'm talking about care, compassion, and understanding.
And so am I.
No,
So am
just
I.
one. No. You see, I'm gonna catch you out here, Stell, because you're being a cunt again, aren't you? Now,
I'm thinking of the amount of people that could have got care and compassion with that £460,000 you stole.
okay. Because you
That's
see,
all I'm saying.
this is the little devil in you. We're talking about a topic of understanding care and compassion, and you want to take a personal dig at me, and then I'm going to respond with another personal dig, and then you're going to be really surprised, aren't you? Because then what you're doing now, because you've attacked me, you're giving me the license to attack you. And is your closet clean, Stell? Do you have a clean closet? When you came out of the closet, did you leave it clean, or are you still in the closet? Yeah, you don't know an answer now, do you? Anyway, I think it's been an interesting live. I was hoping to end it at 11. If there's any other, we can continue this another night. I hope you guys have enjoyed the discussion here today. I think it's been very educational and informative. I have learned a lot. What are your opinions, Valerie, on what we've discussed today?
I think I quite like the French law about if someone says, please don't film me, don't film me. And I think that shows respect for each other. And that's the way we should be, respect each other.
But then it's backed by a law, isn't it? And maybe that law needs to be implemented in this country. But so that's something that can be implemented. So with regards to solutions to problems like this dispute that's going outside of this live, maybe that's a problem that this dispute exists because that law has not really been implemented in this country. But it's just kind of interesting to see how society would benefit from that law and how the French doing it, because the British always want to do it their own way and then not take the lead from the French. But if that is having...
Can I just butt in here a minute, yeah? I was doing my little cheeky comment, and then I was running to clean my closet out, if you don't mind.
Okay. Is it clean now?
Yeah.
Oh, good. All right. And you're fully out of the closet now. You're not still in there, are you?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm looking to bring the live to an end there. I want to thank everybody. Just final words, Valerie, Don Michael, and Brighton, and everybody else. Anybody wants to get in the boxes and just give some final words?
Go on and I'll say good night.
Thank you, Don Michael.
Yeah, good night, Don Michael. Good night, Shazad. Good night.
Thank you very much, Valerie.
Good night, everyone.
Brighton, any
Good
last
night,
words?
everybody. Yes. Okay. My last word on this subject is take responsibility for your own actions before you start pointing the finger at others.
I think that's a very good last comment, and I would ask you to equally take that on board as well yourself.
Shut up, you.
Goodbye. Thank you. Come again. Come again, please.